be focusing on trying to adapt an existing character. I've gotten permission from the artist to do this. So we're basically like going to do some character adaptation to where we're going to try to either translate it to a different style or otherwise remake one of their comics. It's a friend of mine named Fran, who we featured here before, but I'll show you guys what I got lined up here in a minute. I'm pretty excited about it because we're gonna basically be at first bringing her closer to my comic style, and then seeing what styles you guys want to do, and then maybe remaking one of her plots if we have enough time for it. Um, there's there's also a request to do a wizard battle or a wizard duel. So we'll see if we have time for it today, but towards the latter half of the stream, these streams usually last about 3 hours, maybe a little longer. Then the so towards the latter half, we'll probably dig back into fantasy stuff. I want to make sure that we get plenty of non fantasy stuff done first, only because I know that not everyone is down for that kind of stuff. But I mean, it's super fun to see what you guys get into for that. So, all right. As for ancient and kinky, you guys having a good day?
Oh yeah.
Sure. Um, I might be randomly DMing people asking for some prompts for reasons.
Okay, sounds good. Sounds good. I definitely want to see what you guys get into. I see that Getters is already getting into some style referencing of this code here that he's got. Um, I see there's a couple of them that he's been running, so I'm very curious to see what sort of unique styles you guys have been, crafting for yourselves using that. I haven't really gotten into it much myself just because I'm doing so much image prompting lately. So definitely like share what sort of stuff you guys have been getting into in the VC text. Let me just explain a few things for the people who are new here. First off, my name is Victor. It's nice to meet you if you're new here. I am a cartoonist and former visual effects artist for various different Adult Swim shows. Um, and for the most part, we get into all sorts of stuff here, but whenever we dig back into particularly stop motion, it's always really fun to see what you guys get into. But I want to first just kind of explain some things for the new people here about how this works. So essentially, we are a casual stream that lets you guys prompt with us in real time, and then I can come in and remix your prompt or give suggestions, or you guys can teach me new things. It's all sorts of like wild directions that we end up going in here. But the key thing is that there are two channels to keep an eye out for. You have the stage where we're at right now, but you also have VC Create and VC Text. And you find VC Create and VC Text just above the stage here. So right above where we're talking, you'll be able to click that and join VC Create or VC Text. In VC Text, which you'll see here on the left side of my screen, um, the VC text will show anything you guys talk about. So it'll end up on YouTube and all that kind of stuff. Feel free to chat in there and ask questions, and we'll be sure to go through it. Especially if you guys have any like projects you want to get done, feel free to let us know what you're doing so that we're able to kind of like lean the stream a bit towards what you're doing, so that you're maybe it's a bit more helpful for you and whatnot. Um, then we also have VC Create, which is a very exciting part about this stream, which is we can collaborate together. It's easily Midjourney's like most powerful thing for me is just being able to collaborate with you guys and make things together. There's all sorts of different techniques and approaches you can do to using Midjourney. And oftentimes we end up focusing on like anime and drawn aesthetics, but all of the principles can apply to standard Midjourney or Niji, which is the anime or drawn specific data set that if you're not familiar with it, essentially what you're going to be doing is either adding a code at the end called Niji in order to force a more drawn interpretation of your prompt. It's very, very useful when you even are not doing anime. I think it's a little, even though I know there's reasons for it, I think the Niji prompt actually, or the Niji parameter has much more utility outside of just anime. It's really about more getting a better understanding of what you want as the product of your prompt. So you're also going to be seeing me using a setting called /prefer, which lets us be able to save our characters inside of Midjourney. And the way that we do that is by referring to basically like a variety of links of our character. And that gives me a good little segue to get into our character for today. You can actually see that you could prompt for just Mario and all sorts of other corporate IP and whatnot. Whatever is kind of known, like a big known thing, is probably going to show up in Midjourney fine. And that's just for contextual reasons. Like, I don't really do a lot of prompts that require me to write big lists of stuff, and that the reason why I don't do that is because I specialize in something called image prompting. I am more often drawing in Photoshop first, and then bringing that drawing into Midjourney for it to interpret and recontextualize the way that I want. So let's bring out the character for today. I'm pretty excited about this because I know that you guys are fans of Tiff and Eve, the series from Fran's Sunblood, on Reddit and on Webtoons. So I made a Tiff that is in the style of a little bit closer to the Franco-Belgian style for my comics. I just posted it inside of VC Text. And we'll be using character referencing to pull this character from this sheet and be able to use it in our prompts. That is as easy as using a single parameter called character referencing. So with this image here, we could just middle click it or get a link from it. Just copy the link from it like this. Copy. And then what we're going to do is we are going to basically just paste the link into Midjourney after typing /imagine. If we just paste the link, it's going to do something called an image blend. So we need to add some words in there in order to blend it with the results from the prompt. Then if we do it as a character reference, however, it will dominate the result with the aesthetic and basically the look of our character. It's a much newer way to approach character prompting for a specific character. And it's more efficient. But if you combine the older method of word only prompts and character referencing, you could get some really amazing results with this. So before I hop in and we start prompting with that, I see that Jolinak asked, could you explain the way you do image prompting in more detail in a future meeting? Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm happy to do that. Especially when it comes to whether or when to do image blending or when to do character referencing or even when to do style referencing. We'll be getting into all that today. So, all right, let's hop right into here. Again, feel free to come into VC Text and start asking questions, guys. I have a lot of things lined up for today. But basically what we're going to do is inside of our prompt here, I've already pasted the link, but in front of it, I'm going to write _cref. That is character referencing. And we can basically get her to do anything with just this prompt. So let's have her riding a horse. Why not? Right? And I want to add Niji to the end of it in order to, because I built the character sheet with Niji. So it's going to come out best with Niji when prompting, but you don't have to do that. It's just the thing is that V6 it understands characters very differently than if you're doing drawn. Basically, the interpretation's better with Niji if it's a drawn character, and you can see that the first result that we got. Oh, it's super fun. We have all her expressions are kind of boiled down into one. She's definitely a centaur in two of them. By the way, the bottom left one's hilarious. It's got some really funny horse people face in it. Definitely, definitely long in the face, right? So the cool thing about this is that as you guys start to play around with this character referencing, you're going to notice that it basically lets us be able to no matter how many characters we prompt for and stuff, they're always going to be Tiff or this derivative of Tiff. But it lets us be able to instantly recast this person into all sorts of different scenarios. And this doesn't even get into the more exciting stuff when we start to adjust the parameters to really get us what we want. Because everything that's going to come out of this she'll likely be leaning towards a sitting position because of because the prompt has her sitting in the image, the image reference. She's sitting down in there. So if you want to avoid that result, you can see out of all of these, she's kind of leaning forward. Like I love that she's on uh, a witch's broom here. That's so cute. Um, but the key thing is that if we wanted to get her out of this sitting position, the only thing we have to do is add a parameter to the back side of the prompt here, and that is hyphen hyphen CW, which stands for character weight. If you just add a 0 to that, it is essentially going to only be very loosely inspired by the whatever's inside of the character reference. If we set it to 100, that's not 1,000. But if we set it to 100, that's effectively like as if we didn't write character weight at all. It's essentially the default setting. So somewhere in between there tends to give us the balance between either okay, here is a complete freeform idea of the character to here's the constrained character design down to the pose that the character is in. So I'm going to do CW0 so that you guys can see what that looks like. And then I'll also do CW50 to give us a middle ground. Essentially, 50% of it is being dictated by the character reference, and the other 50% is being dictated by the rest, everything else that goes into Midjourney. And let's see, doing the dishes. Oh yes. It's any sort of mundane task always looks so cute and fun. And let's see what happened here. So, with the high style reference, like, cause if you notice that on Real Smart's result here, it had the style was set to 750, riding a giraffe, and then the C ref should be just the of Tiff here, right? Right. So you could see that the result gave us many like tiffs like surrounding her and stuff. And the thing about that is that's actually a result of the character sheet. And I wanted to give you guys this full sheet for a reason. Um, and I'll just kind of zoom out for this. Actually, I'll just drop over to the tablet here. So the reason I gave you guys the full sheet here is because I wanted you guys to see what the range of expressions are for Tiff in this style. It gives you guys, at least when you guys hopefully are referring to this sheet as you're prompting, it gives you guys more guidance on the kind of results that you should be leaning towards in order to remain faithful to the character design. But because there are so many floating heads around her, and the fact that she's sitting, all those results will show up as like patterns inside of your images. So you have two ways to really get around that. We can run this with a character weight of 0. Whoops, missing a hyphen. Or we can actually isolate the character reference to a specific part of the character sheet. And essentially that's really easy to do. If you just have any image manipulator, you can use your phone to edit the image if you want. But essentially what we're going to do is we are just going to select either one face or a part of the body here, instead of, we basically just don't want to include any of her legs, because otherwise it'll be, her knees will always be kind of at her waist height, without running the negative, or sorry, the low character weight. So I'm just going to deselect everything that doesn't include her pose here. So let me go ahead and get rid of this. And you'll notice that as soon as I do this and I start to isolate the character reference down to the single pose, you're going to notice that her pen starts to show up more because we're giving less stuff for Midjourney to be constrained to. Um, in terms of like the possibilities of the image. So it's basically like this whole character reference here is now going to be down to just her torso here. Um, but let's go ahead and paste that into Discord here. So only thing I do is paste that now cropped image of her into there. Ooh, and I'll check out everything you guys are doing here. I just need to get the link for this here. And now that I have the cropped version of this, I can come back up to here and re-roll this one as is, but change the link at the end here. Okay? Boom. And then I'll just submit that. And we'll see what that looks like compared to the 0 character weight here. But I want to see what some of the stuff you guys have been doing here. And I saw that we might have a question or two. Let's see here. Zomarco says, hey, very, very new here. Is there a list of tags for prompts like cref or niji or etc.? And what the purpose is? Awesome. There is certainly a list. What you want to do is just go to Google. And in fact, let me prompt this a little separately. Really, I say wow. Okay, I've been here a little too long. I officially call Googling prompting. So let me get it from Google really quick. Let me write the parameter list here. Got it. Okay. Thank you so much. It's already been linked, I guess. Let me just give a direct link for it. I'm gonna hit it as a reply to you here.
I was just trying to get it too.
All good. So if you look here, it's gonna give you a nice little like thumbnail and stuff for you guys to look at here. But the parameter list will give you everything that you need to know in terms of the all the different sort of adjustments or modulations that you can apply to Midjourney. There's also a codes section as well where it's more focused on the like the individual like weights and all that kind of stuff. The main thing, oh, the commands. I'm so sorry, not codes, commands. The commands will let you be able to understand the actual utility behind a lot of the specifics within Midjourney. So I'm going to link both of them here inside of VC text for you guys. I recommend just saving them. It's a bit easier than having to remember. And essentially the commands will tell you everything in terms of like, oh, like /describe will let you take an image and do an image interrogation or give you basically a reverse prompt. It just gives you what it thinks it sees in the image, and so on and so forth. They're all very, very useful in the commands, and even more useful is to practice with the parameters because the parameters are going to let you be able to really wrangle or control Midjourney in a way that feels like you're actually like creating something instead of just asking the machine gods for something. You know what I mean? Like it's way better to actually read the wiki. Okay, Westendorf says also in Discord for newbies, /setting is an important thing to look at. Yes, it is. Thank you so much for reminding me about that, Westendorf. So if you are, especially if you're like, how is he rewriting the prompt after putting it in? That's actually called remix mode, and it's inside of /settings. This is probably the one that I forget to mention the most out of everything that we talk about here. But if you look inside of /settings, you will have your, excuse me, hold on a second. Sorry about that. But inside of your /settings, you'll have whether or not you can use public mode, turbo mode, all that kind of stuff. If you want to explore around with it, feel free. But the most important one to have on for today is remix mode. The remix mode will let you basically just write any prompt, and you'll be able to hit reroll on it and then actually change what is the prompt itself, the words inside of it. So it's I sometimes wonder, like, is it default yet? I don't. It's one of those things I just expect to be on now. Let's check out what some of the stuff you guys have gotten into now that we've kind of covered a couple of these things. It is something that I'm excited to see what you guys do with this, because the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna adapt the second character from this comic series in order to kind of tell our own version of one of her comics. And keep in mind, I've gotten permission from the artist to do this, so we're all good in that regard. She's really excited to see what you guys come up with. So just to double back really quick, if we notice that with the character weight of 0, riding a giraffe is now way more literal. She is quite literally riding that giraffe, and there's no sort of weird misinterpretation. But more importantly, the it's only her. It's not a bunch of floating heads around. But if we look at the other result that we had for the giraffe, I think that's a little lower here. Let's see where that's at. I'll be sure to get back at that in just a sec. Let's see. Oh, was it? Did I skip over it here? No. Okay. Sorry, just a minute, guys. Let's find this other giraffe one here. There's a lot of really fun ones that you guys have already got into, so I'm excited to see it. Looks like I'll double back on that here in a minute. But okay, all right. Let's just get into these though. Uh, okay, you can see we have the floating head issue of where there's multiple heads in there. I actually don't really mind this very much because I could just in paint them out, and it always adds little cute character versions of it in the background, which I find extremely useful for comics, like making comics particularly. So look at what we got here. We have, a chimera, dragon sort of character that was generated here, but we got two alternative poses that just are fun, chibi, exaggerated versions of her in the background. We could use that in a comic if it inspired us to tell a story here. But let's take out some of the prompts that you guys are getting into. So usually with the character weight of 0, like what Fungi Mancer did here, you're going to see that it diverges away not just from the character's design, but even their style. Like the rules of the character start to move farther away from it. So that would be the main negative, is that whenever you're doing a character weight of 0, you're really pushing the boundaries of where the character can go, which you could just in-paint it back, and I'll show you the wax on, wax off method here in a minute. But when it comes to just being able to um, really see like different clothing styles, even different art styles applied to your character, character weight 0 is super clutch at that. And they applied their own style reference to this as well. So that it's really, really pushing it in terms of the how far you could take this one design, to the point where sometimes you just don't even have the original character anymore. It really just depends on how Midjourney interprets it. And because it is a Midjourney image, the character reference here, because this is a Midjourney image, it better understands the rules of the image. So you could use anything. You could use a hand-drawn, cartoon character, but you tend to get better results by mixing and matching with generated images. So let's take a look at Singing on a Stage with a character weight of 0 by Getters here. And wow, I mean, this is awesome. It's awesome. We definitely get farther away from Tiff than for those that don't know, Tiff is a trans woman. And I was very told specifically, like no, this design's great. She's very happy with this design for Tiff. So we should just go ham with it and just and see where you guys want to take Tiff here. But let's just say the outfit is a little too punk, a little too grunge for your taste and stuff like that. Tiff is a rather like cottage core kind of character. Like, she likes to wear really comfortable dresses, and I would say this is more like the girl she's trying to date, Veronica. So what we're gonna do instead is we're gonna try to bring back the design to be a little closer, or at least bring it back to the design um, of the character sheet here, and that's really easy to do. And we're gonna do it with in painting. So let's just select every part of it that doesn't match the character sheet. right? So just to kind of confirm, she has a large V-neck top with the bra visible and long sleeves. So and the hairband. So we already have the hairband. We don't need to worry about the rest of her hair necessarily. But we want to select everything that doesn't match with the lasso tool here. So I'm just going to grab with the lasso tool everything that's below the neckline here. Well, actually, she's wearing a collar in this. So let's keep the collar. So everything below the collar, we're going to get rid of. And I'm going to cut right at the wrists here just so that it tries to match as close as possible to the outfit. And if you have trouble with this, if the results that you're getting are just not reliable, then include parts of it. Like for example, let's just leave the pants there. So we're basically just telling her put a different top on. Okay. It's like she's about to go to the show in like a late 80s like comedy or whatever, and it's like, no, you gotta put on something, put on something on that top, that kind of thing from the parent or whatever. So the way that we do that is with a method that I've called wax on, wax off. I have for weeks been mispronouncing it, calling it wash on and wash off, and I'm angry at you guys for not correcting me. Uh, um,
I I always feel like I correct you too much when I do that. I'm like, should I not?
No, you should. You should, because otherwise I look dumb for weeks. It's all good. It's all good though. So it's wax on, wax off. Like Karate Kid. And what we're gonna do is we have already waxed it off. We've already have a CW0. Now let's set it to 90 or 100. And this is the wax on part that we're basically going to change, force it to go, okay, we know what the rest of the image here is. We know where her hands are. We know where her hips are. Let's try to make it all make sense, but with a very high character weight to bring back her outfit. This is easily the most OP use case for character referencing, because it lets you be able to say, okay, give me the sheer diversity of possibility when it comes to the posing and the character with this image, but then bring it all back when it comes to the important details and continuity. So we'll see how well it does with this. Look at that. Look at that. Okay. All right. Awesome. The first and fourth one match the character design. That's awesome. It's a little more teal, but that doesn't matter. It's fine. But that's so cool that we can just so quickly be able to say, "Hey, this is our character. She's come back now." That kind of thing. Super super cool. I love this feature of just being able to turn it on and off like this. Because it lets us be able to do anything with this character. So like I'm just gonna do it to a couple different examples here. You could see that what is it, Barvazon. They were running with Chaos and standard Midjourney. So not Niji, but standard. And you're gonna notice that the not only does the style set change really dramatically, but the interpretation of the character is dramatic, because we're going from a Niji image to standard Midjourney in terms of its logic. So that's why you see a lot more diversity, and you also put a chaos 8, which is any amount of chaos is gonna literally be chaotic. Um, so let's I love the cartoons in the real world too. I'm gonna pop back over the chat here. We can talk about that for a minute. I love the look too. It's just very hard to control it. Like the variety that you get from the live action stuff can be so much more dramatic and in so many different places than than cartoons. Cartoons are largely like, here, let's do a little gradient here at most. You know what I mean? It's like, here's some shading. It's not very complicated in terms of the rule logic that is implied to, compared to say trying to light human skin and seeing a little bit of that the blood flowing underneath the skin that adds a little bit of pink to things in places that are not just apply a texture or apply a color. That's the kind of stuff Midjourney is really good at recreating and demonstrating. But Niji is just where it's at when it comes to trying to do drawn characters, consistently anyway. Um, so even when it comes to like Fungi Mancer's character, interpretation of it here, Basically, like, we could take any one of these and be able to say, okay, I don't like her. The outfit she's wearing here, let's swap that out. Oh, her hairband is in the wrong place. Let's change that. All by just changing one parameter, which is character weight. Super, super cool. All right, what else do we got here? Yeah, more blood under the skin. Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah. Anytime I'm watching like a B horror movie, it's like, yes, more blood, please. It's too much fun. If you ask me from Red Letter Media which one of the movie reviewers I'm probably closest to, it's easily Jay, easily. And Jay's like the horror movie buff guy. I'm not really that into horror, but we have very similar tastes in terms of the films and stuff we like. So, little Red Letter Media fun fact there. Um, but I see there was some talk about the differences between style referencing and character referencing. Um, style referencing really takes it removes like the character like logic that's in there. Like, it basically won't be looking for things like, oh, here's a blonde woman that's in the scene. It will occasionally recreate some elements of that. It will like encourage certain characters to look certain ways, but it's way better at basically just referring to an existing image and going, okay, we're going to try to match that aesthetic as much as possible. So, basically what I'm going to be looking at here, from you guys, is all the different kind of ways that we can interpret Tiff here to see if we get any sort of weird patterns that we have to take into account. For the most part, I mean, it's pretty consistent. Like, we're getting a blonde girl with little bangs in the front that pop up, and a hairband. Sometimes the hairband turns into glasses, like it did with Boozlegast here. Hey, Boozlegast, it's been a minute. It's good to see you, buddy. I love that guy. It's really fun to, it's really fun to see like the regulars coming in here and hanging out. It's so cool. I love it when you guys come in here and chat and show off your characters and do all that sort of fun stuff. So, we could see we have a whole bunch of skateboarding tiffs, and a couple other characters too mixed in here and whatnot. You could even switch out who the character is by changing what the character reference is. But say like we want to, diversify this result a little bit. We can even include multiple images, to blend together. So I'm going to show you guys something using the TIFF sheet here first, and then we'll bring in a second character to start messing with. Again, if you guys have any character designs, ooh, look at the little mushroom girl. Sorry, I'm getting really distracted here, but that's stupid cute. And if that has to be fun. No, it's really smart. Fungi Mancer usually does the mushroom prompts, so that's super fun. Yes, yes, this is super cute. So if you wanted to essentially try to bring that hairband back in, it's pretty easy to do because you have the character weight set at 20 right now. We could literally just, imagine where that headband is, right? I do this with Photoshop Beta all the time, actually. Like, it was where I've already got a picture in my head of what I want the result to be. I just have to make sure I in paint pretty close to it, and then we get a result that will work. But like when it comes to Midjourney, it's just so powerful to be able to just change one parameter. Let's set it to 90, just to give it a little bit of wiggle room in terms of like trying to force the headband into there. But it's just so powerful to be able to do it this way rather than relying on re-rolling like you do with Photoshop Beta. Photoshop Beta just introduced image prompting as well. I won't be getting into that today. But it essentially lets us do a lot of the image referencing that we have been doing with Midjourney for about a year now. So, it's about damn time. Let's put it that way. So look here, look what we did. There you go. The result right off the bat, and like this is from Really Smart. They switched it to 90 and just did it, and there you go. You just can inpaint one or two things, and it's going to look perfect. And then with my version of it, I selected a little more than they did, and look what it did. It also made it wider and bigger. So, the look at that. Isn't that awesome? So it's just amazing what you can do with just a little bit of that wax on, wax off kind of stuff. Um, but from here, Let's see. Do we have any other questions here? If anyone thinks MJ's filters are too strong, woof. The Photoshop filters are certainly too. Yeah. No, I am incredibly frustrated with Adobe's filters. If you get too close to an armpit, it will yell at you and it thinks you're trying to make nudes. It's ridiculous. It is one of those things where I hope a lot of this stuff just eases up in general, just because like I know there's plenty of people that work in like entertainment that do all sorts of anything from risque to horror and stuff. It's yeah, it is a good idea to give us a little bit of that room, but it really needs to be like a kind of a buckled down license kind of thing to where you could probably get it taken away if you're doing bad stuff. Like I can see there's a very good reason why the filters are strong, guys. So let's take a look at now that you guys have explored this a little bit. I've seen all sorts of fun little tiffs at this point. I think we want to get to the next stage here. Ooh, Dr. Sandwich, what did you do here? That's cute. It's like a fantasy book reading a book in a fort with her pet dragon, and it's done in V6, so it has a lot more interpretation to the character design here. Let's see. Let's go ahead and bring in our second character here, and this is basically me going to be like recreating the process that I used to make the character sheet for Tiff. We are actually going to do that with Eve here. So Eve is the second character from the comics. So it is something that I'm excited to see what you guys do with it, because this is where you guys can actually help dictate how she's actually going to look like for my little like crossover things, like just this idea here. So let me just take a second to find where she's at here inside of my folder, because I know that I have her saved here. I just didn't prepare properly, and grab her really quick. Let's see. Let me make sure this is going to work. Nope. There we go. I have it here. Okay. So I'm going to show you guys what I do to kind of convert the art. Oh God, he noticed my mistake. What mistake did you do? Let me double back and make your mistake even more obvious. Dr. Sandwich. Let's see here. You know what? I'll save you that embarrassment of having. Oh, okay. Yes, the V6. I see. Yes, I caught you not using Niji. I see. That's funny. Okay. I hope you have the malpractice insurance. Hello, doctor. Great. I'm loving the sloth. The sloth's super cute. I know that's Fungi Mancer from a mile away. I love that I can also tell who you guys are based on what you're prompting, by the way. It's a pretty fun at least proof of intent and proof of creative expression from you guys. So anyway, let me get into this here. So I'm gonna do this inside of Photoshop Beta. Essentially what I've done is I've taken Eve from her comic series and I've isolated her to just a couple of images here. This acts as like a temporary character sheet for us, but because it is fully drawn, like if we zoom in completely in here, you're actually going to see the ink blotting from the comic. But the thing is that it's been threshold. So essentially what happens is Fran scans the her ink on paper, and then as she scans it in black and white mode, which means that any sort of like subtle gradient or subtle fade is lost from the ink, which is good for her because by the time she zooms out all the way, right, you get nice clean lines. You can just fill that in. But what it also means is the pattern of pixels that are around for each little part here is not going to be as easily understood to Midjourney as a generated image is. It's even worse when you have like really smeary ink and stuff like that. It just has trouble understanding what you're doing. So what we're gonna do here is we're basically going to make a generated version of Eve here, and we're going to try to get her to be as close to the expression and look as we can. So what I'm gonna do is we're first going to do an image blend, and then we're going to save her inside of Midjourney. So I'm going to take one of her poses here. Let's do this one here. Copy that. And then I just immediately hop back over to Discord here, and I'm going to paste that as just a singular image. And now I hop back over to Photoshop, and I'm basically doing this with every one of the poses because I'm trying to make what is called an image blend, or to merge all these together. If I include different pant colors with each one of Eve here, it'll be like some blend between black and yellow that's on here. So essentially, if I take one image, I try to not include things that are not alike to each other in the second image. That it just helps consistency in that regard. So I'm gonna do this with all the ones that seem relevant here. So let's go ahead and get this one here as well. If you're wondering how I isolated these from her comics, I literally just grabbed the object selection tool here inside of Photoshop and just highlight selected and removed. But to do it more manually, it just takes time. You could do it manually as well. But we're just gonna copy the rest of these really quick and get them all inside of Midjourney. I'm going to avoid the ones without her mouth and kind of to the side here. So let's do one more. We'll do this one here. Okay, because we shouldn't need the backside of her head in order for it to Midjourney to understand that we're doing a redhead, a fiery redheaded lady. So let's this is one of my tests, by the way, so you guys can get an idea of what we're gonna get into. But what I'm gonna do is, now that we have these 4 images inside of our Discord here, I'm just gonna hit enter, and that will get us a Discord link. So we're gonna open up each one of these, and I'm just going to hit /imagine, and then start pasting all 4 links into the result here. We're doing this live, by the way, so we'll see how well this comes out by default. But as long as all the links are nice and separated out, we should just be able to write Niji 6 and just hit enter on that in order to do a straight image blend. There's no word prompts at all. It's basing this entirely on the imagery that we're submitting it, and it's going to look really, really weird at first, because I want to show you guys just what sort of process you could expect from this. So you could see it doesn't look like Eve at all. Like it's got the right shirt color, sure. The hair's kind of right, but the rest of it is very, very off. It doesn't really know what kind of cartooning it is. It just can see the patterns in the line art and all that, and it tries to repurpose that. So let's try it now with Niji. Oh, sorry, not with Niji, but with let's just try to give it any kind of words at all, right? So let's do a character turnaround. Okay, this is you could write character sheet, you could write other things to kind of encourage this result, but essentially what we're going to do is we're going to merge the concept of a character turnaround and Eve's art here, and we'll see what we get for that. So, and I can see you guys are already going off of the raw images here and trying to get the I like okay, all right, I do like the third one here. You guys running it as just the character reference of her stuff. So the reason I'm doing it this way is because I'm going to show you guys how to use style referencing. But you could see I do like the beer one. The beer one's fun. But you could see that when I said character turnaround, Niji 6, it doesn't look really much like Eve at all. It's just kind of borrowing some of her outfit, some of her looks in that way. But let's run it now as a character reference with character turnaround as the prompt. So I'm going to copy all the links, and I'll show you guys a better way to do this in just a second. But we'll just copy all the links, write --cref, and then hit enter. Or sorry, just submit. This will do more of what's happening up here, where sipping a cold one in Chicago. It's essentially what it's going to do is it's going to now give us the idea of a turnaround, but constrain it to her style or to the character that it believes that it sees inside of the blend here. And that's much closer. Like right off the bat, that is way closer. Not exactly what I'm looking for, but it is way closer in terms of the following the rules of the character. And you know, at any time we could keep re-rolling this and maybe get a result that we really really like and use that as the character reference. But I want to constrain it to look more like the character sheet that I built for hold on, this one here. To make it look more like the character sheet that I built for Tiff here. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually copy this link. We're going to re-roll the character turnaround, but we're going to add a style reference to it. So --sref instead of cref, sref, and then we're going to paste the character turnaround I did of Tiff as the style reference. So we have 3 elements going on here at the same time. We have a prompt for the character turnaround. We have the character reference that's constraining the results. And then we have the style reference, which is basically going to try to follow the rules of whatever is inside of the style reference. So by combining all 3 of those, we get somewhere in between all of them. Like it's this kind of like menagerie of possibility, especially when we talk about minimalist cartoon characters. It's far more likely to give us something that we may not like right off the bat, and we're going to have to explore a little more. But essentially what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to first try to let's see what are a couple parameters that might help here. So I will say that a style weight of like 850, because the default for the style references is pretty low. So by pumping that up really high, we'll probably get a result that will be closer in style to the Tiff reference art here. And then we could also simply increase the styles and see if Midjourney just creates a more interesting or better character design by doing that. We'll see what it does here. But while that's rendering, I'm just going to give myself a minute here to sip on this smoothie that I got, and we'll see what the results of that look like.
People love drinking smoothies on Midjourney on the Midjourney stage. It's like a whole vibe.
I mean, when you talk so much, it's really it's super clutch to have. I now get a smoothie before I stream every time. It's just way better.
Gonna have to try it out. I think that I might be the only person that's regularly on the stage that doesn't or hasn't done smoothies.
We should change that.
Absolutely.
Get her a magic bullet or something like that. So it's just right. Like you have to remember not to turn it on when you're streaming.
Right. Do it before stream.
Right. All right. Yeah.
I just want you to know before you go on that I was leaning back and eating a handful of corn pops cereal, and I absolutely inhaled one of them through my nostril.
Oh no. Through your nostril. Oh my god.
That is, I had to blow it out.
Oh god.
So I thought that was important news for everybody watching the stream.
It's good to know. It's good to know.
Go back on mute now.
Well, I'm just imagining where you could go. I could still breathe through this. It's like a Cheerio.
I couldn't. I had to close the other nostril and take a deep breath and go shoot it out.
Oh my. Mm-hmm. Well, now there's gonna be a lot of kinky Cheerio prompts. I promise. Snorting Cheerios. Let's take a look at the result that we got. Okay.
If it was a Cheerio, I would have been able to breathe. There's a hole in a Cheerio.
Okay, that's true. Yeah, that's true. I forgot the pops don't have holes in them. Okay, all right. Let's take a look at what we got here. So you can see that when I increased the style reference here, it more likely gave me the multiple faces that's like in the sheet itself. It didn't really get us closer to a style necessarily, but it definitely constrained it to look more, or at least to follow the rules of the image that I gave it. So we're gonna drop that back down a little bit, and we're gonna try, instead of style weight, I'll just switch that to 150 for now. We are going to do a style or stylize of 850s. I know it's a little confusing because they're just one letter off, right? SW versus S, but stylize is much older than style weight, and essentially it's the amount of creative liberty that you give Midjourney on like detail and fidelity. Um, there is a very good reason why you don't want that number really high. It tends to diversify the style really, really hard, and it tends to just kind of go everywhere when you up that number too much. And sometimes things just like get kind of lost or convoluted because of the high fidelity. So I'm going to show you guys two examples here. This is getting a little more closer or interesting to me. But if we go ahead and we run this now with a low stylize, so let's do 85 instead of 850. We're definitely going to see more minimalist decisions that are made, but the overall result that we get from it, oftentimes to me is funnier. Like it makes more like deliberate decisions, so it's more funny that way. Like the first image here to me makes me laugh more than a lot of the previous ones that we've gotten. But if we go ahead and say this one's okay, it's kind of close enough or whatever, then what we want to do is we want to do a variation subtle on it. And I'm just going to submit it, and we're going to see what the subtle does for it. Um, in terms of trying to bring us back. I'm honestly, I think if Fran saw a lot of these Eves, she'd be like, "Oh man, that it's all over the place in terms of the actual design of her." But that's because we're kind of pushing parameters. We're kind of going all over the place when it comes to exactly how far we want to take her design. Um, the main, at least the main thing for me is that there's a lot of interpretation of the minimalism, so we have to re-roll these. We have to explore these a little longer than we would with, say, an anime character, because the rules for anime are so much more hardline for a lot of stuff. I see that Kinky linked me to a question here. If the blocky lines are confusing for Midjourney, shouldn't a bit of blur help with that? Um, so a little bit of blur will recreate that blur universally. It'll basically just give you a blurrier image, but there are limitations to that. It will create, and what he's referring to, by the way, is when I zoomed into the Eve's original art here. These pixelated hard lines and all that stuff is what we're talking about. If I do apply a blur into there, it's a good chance that we start to also like add dimension to things that we don't really intend to, like the edges of the line art will start to have depth to them, and we may not intend for that to be true. Um, but what I'm gonna do actually is just to kind of keep this a little bit easier for me to tell, I'm going to leave a version of Eve here up on my screen so that I can see it more easily, and we can start to identify which ones really look more like her, because she's got a bit of a pointed nose, definitely a pointed chin, and a red head with big ponytail. So you could see that when I did the variation subtle, we definitely are sticking with the large rounded cartoon nose, and that doesn't match your character. Oh, that's right, I'm on the wrong screen here, sorry guys. So we can see that doesn't really match the character art very well to have the big rounded nose. This is a byproduct of working with the character references here. Okay, so what we're gonna do instead is we're gonna select one of these, whichever one we think is kind of the closest. So I'm gonna look for the one without the most bulbous nose. And we can try to get a little closer. Now the thing is I want to avoid the ones that have props in them. So like drinking a smoothie here, it's very cute. It's very wild thornberries actually. But the prop will always show up inside of whatever we're referring to. So I'm going to avoid that for now. And we're basically just going to kind of zoom up into here. This, I will say, it's definitely off in style because you're style referencing and character referencing her at the same time here. But there is a certain consistency that we get out of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to up-res this one from Boozlegast. We're going a little bit into unknown territory here. I'm just going to explore this for a second. So we have some frankly not great looking line art here. But what happens if we take out the style reference entirely here, just to see what it does, and then increase the stylize by 850. So we're basically telling it, all right, go ham with this. And keep in mind, the character reference is still at 100, so it's probably going to keep it pretty constrained, but at least her nose and some of the line art rules are starting to get preserved, right? So I'm going to now go back up to here and find that one image. Yes, I'll just use this one. I'm going to use this image here, this one, in order to act as a style reference for this. And we'll see if we can get it a little closer. I think the better route for this is probably going to be for us to run a very low character weight and to try to bring the style back in afterward. Like basically to like you can see like we got a little closer, we got a little farther away. It really just depends on the intent here. I think we're not really hitting the mark on this one. I just wanted to show you guys like there's a lot of ways you can screw around with the parameters, but a lot of times what ends up happening for me anyway is that I'll end up doubling back and finding one that I really like and just using that one instead. So like for example, we do have it is a smoothie prompt, right? But I do like I think out of all the ones that I've seen here so far, we do need to give her a more pointed nose, but she doesn't have the like I do like this one too. The bottom right one's cute, but it's still the silhouette isn't there, and we just have to really nail that silhouette. This one's pretty good too. I would say the bottom left one's here is pretty decent. But yes, that's exactly what we're gonna do, Boozlegast. That's exactly what we're gonna do. Is we are going to inpaint a new nose onto her. So we're gonna do very region. I'm gonna get rid of smoothie, holding a glowing smoothie solar punk. I'm gonna just get rid of this and just be like character sheet, just to give us something generic. We have the character already set at 90 here. I'm going to just go ahead and select her nose, something like this. And you notice that if I select a big area like this, what's going to happen is that it'll probably try to fill that whole area with the nose, honestly. So I'm going to come in pretty tight and do something like this instead. And if we refer to the character sheet, yep, she has a little bit of a point up here. Like there's a little like part of her hair that sticks up here. I'll go ahead and highlight that too. And then I want to get rid of the drink. So I'm going to highlight the arm and this here. And I'm basically just going to pretend like the arm's going to stick straight out, just to give us it somewhere. Yeah, she does have a cute, sharp nose. That is true. So I'll go ahead and we could just submit that for now. And if it doesn't look right, we might want to describe her nose a bit better. This fourth one, oh wow, yeah, you guys are already uploading it. Okay, this one's pretty solid. That looks a lot like Eve, for sure. So I'm sure one or two of you guys are already using this as a character reference. But I'm going to try to, let's see what the style reference is for it. Good. You guys are doing it right. Cool. So what I'm going to do is let's try to merge these as an image blend. So copy image. This will probably get her farther away from Eve, but we can now paste the link of her reference into the front of the prompt here. This is essentially going to blend the image literally with these two here, and I'm going to start to describe who Eve is. So I'm going to say a redhead, redhead ponytail, and just I don't really want to describe her because if I say long face or anything, it's going to be kind of derogatory. I don't really want to do anything like that. So I'm just going to go with this. We still have a really high character reference onto there. I'm just going to submit it, see what we get off of that. And we'll see what we get. That was from Really Smart as well. So let's see here. Okay. And here's the pointed nose one. Okay, yes. I think Fran would get a good laugh out of the second one here because it's just like the way the nose is pointed up is very funny. I do think that she's gonna get a giggle at this. The ear is a little weird. It's definitely too big and odd in that regard. So I'm gonna go ahead and fix that. Come into here and just select that. Okay. Hopefully it'll pull the ear up just a little bit and shrink it down significantly. We'll see what it does in that regard. Let's see if we got that image blend. Okay, yes. So here's the image blend, and you could see that it kind of like it brought the multiple faces back, but it's just not. Image blends are really really good for when you have an existing image and you really need to use that. You really need to refer to that for like the composition, especially like the where things are in the frame. When we're doing storyboarding on a fantasy series right now, and the number one thing is the storyboards are almost always used as exclusively image blends because the storyboards are establishing the composition of the shot, where the characters are in the frame, that kind of thing. That's why suddenly, without ever prompting for it, we have multiple heads that are showing up inside of here because inside of the image blend is Tiff with all the different expressions. So that is taken very literally when you do an image blend. That unlike how it is with character referencing or style referencing, it's going to be a lot more literal in that regard. So you can see it did what I wanted it to do. Let's go ahead and upres this one here, the fourth one here. Boken. I know the V6 realism stuff is super fascinating, but it's also really freaking creepy. Like it's really really easy for us to get into wobbly wiggly world, and it's not your fault. I'm not trying to call you out or nothing like that. I'm just saying that cartoon characters with the big wide eyes are almost always interpreted as having goggles or some sort of headdress because people don't naturally have that. It's either a lot of eyeliner or it's what this is: glasses, weird Batman mask, like things like that. Like it's gonna do some odd stuff. But when you run in Niji, it interprets the particularly eyes correctly. The next thing we need to do is to get the last character details to line up with this. Okay, so I'm going to do one last very region, and you'll notice that in the original character design, she doesn't have eyebrows that are above her eyes. They're always to the side. And the way that Fran explains this to me, and I think this is basically true for most cartoonists today, is that when there's eyelashes on the side of the eyes, that represents wearing makeup, like on your eyes. If there's no lashes, like it is for most men, then it'll just be round. But you'll notice I got the error, like, oh, you did select enough area to change. Let's go ahead and get the earring out of there too, because she doesn't have an earring. So we'll go ahead and now submit that. Should be enough area. There we go. And as soon as we get it as close as we can for Eve, oh man, yeah, this is weird Mortal Kombat screenshot, in-game gameplay footage. Oh yeah, we've talked about doing a Smash Brothers series before as well, so we'll I don't want to give away who was going to be part of that because the whole a big part of the shtick is who gets the envelopes, right? But we do want to do one where Tiff and Eve are like the ice climbers, right? Because Eve uses a giant mallet in the comics. It would be really funny to do them as Tiff and Eve. Sorry, as the ice climbers. Um, and okay, let's take a look at this. All right, so she does have 3 loops in the ear, which is a little weird, but we can always make corrections for that. The important thing we're looking at here is the eyebrows. I would say that probably for the cleanest result, we're going to go with the second one here. Okay. So we now have what, in my opinion, is a clean, like waist up shot of Eve here. Let's go ahead and do a. Let's just do a 1.5 zoom, because we're gonna then we're gonna inpaint all sorts of expressions for her and see what kind of, you know, what kind of Eve we're gonna make here today. So we'll just give that a moment here to render, and then we'll take a look. If you guys have any questions, by the way, you could find us inside of VC Text and VC Create. Feel free to type it out in VC Text if you guys have any sort of questions or just curiosities in general. Maybe you have a project you get going on. Happy to explore it with you. But you can see here that because we had the character reference left in there, we had the style reference left in there. There's a little bit of like interpretation that happens when you expand or zoom out. So, oh my god, whatever you guys are doing here, I'm gonna have to check that out later because it's just so weird and silly. But what I'm gonna do is I'm actually going to get rid of everything we don't really need, including the character reference, even the style reference. We don't need it anymore because it's been now established inside of our image here. So I'm just gonna run it as a straight character sheet, and we're gonna see what we get off of that. For the most part, though, like this is just, I don't know what's going on with the background character there, but there is a gender bent version of Eve that we found through Midjourney. His name is like Fred Alston or something like that. It was like a very specifically worded person's name. No idea who it is. I googled it. I found an obituary. That's it. And the obituary is nothing interesting, but it was so funny to me that this one guy who kind of looked like her, honestly, was popping up inside of slash describe whenever I was running it on Eve. So it kind of looks like this guy. It kind of does. I'll be honest. So very funny to me. I know you're gonna screw around with that now, Boken, because if I see you segmenting an image, I know what's gonna happen next. Okay. All right, you can see that when we remove the character reference, we remove the style reference, suddenly, not only is it a little more anatomical in the sense of like getting us legs, but the legs are always different because there's nothing to refer on there. So I'm just going to select the third one here, and we can already get into the kind of the expression stage of this. So even though I'm going to fix this arm right here just by kind of selecting down and coming up like that, just so we can kind of get her to have her hand, her hand's already here actually on her hip, but I'm just going to select that too. And we're just going to kind of hope that it makes a straight down arm here. But what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to highlight select everything else that's around her, like so, and so. As long as anything is not covered up, it will refer to that when doing the next step here. So I'm going to hit multiple expressions. I cannot type. Ah! Wow, I cannot type. All right. Multiple expressions. All right. And I'll hit submit on that. There is one parameter that we didn't use that might be useful when doing this. It's style raw. It just kind of gets us a little less fanciful, a little less random in that regard. But we're fine. We're fine doing. Oh no. Boken's gotten the Sith going on with old lady Eve. This. Wow. I don't even know how to start describing that. That's amazing. Okay. All right. So you can see here that if we just say multiple expressions with Niji, we get a rather generic anime character that comes out of it. The nose is not represented. The character it diversifies a lot. Sometimes you need this diversity in order to get the range for Midjourney to understand the range of like especially noses and all that sort of stuff. But what I'm gonna do is I'm actually going to reintroduce the character reference, but this time we're gonna save Eve inside of Midjourney so that it's easier for us to refer to her. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find all those image links we had earlier, all these up here. And if you're wondering essentially how to save characters in Midjourney, it's really, really easy. You're going to grab all your links for your character. You're going to write /prefer. And you're going to see that prefer option set pops up. If you click this, you'll be able to set a name for your character. So I'm going to hit Eve, and then I'm going to hit plus more. As soon as you hit plus more, you're going to see a value option pop up. Click that, and then paste all your links inside of the value. So if I now hit enter on this, Eve is now saved within my account. So the only thing I need to do, outside of avoiding old Sith Eve, is I can now write -- Eve wherever I want Eve's links to show up. So if I hit vary region here, and I write first -- cref, I can then write -- Eve. And assuming there was a bug related to this that I don't know if it's been fixed yet, but what should happen is should populate the links. And it didn't. And this is the error. This is the bug that we have right now. This is not a normal thing, guys. It'll get fixed. But the key thing is that sometimes these /prefers aren't being read correctly inside of inpainting in some rerolls. So we could just copy the link and submit it, but our highlighted area is now saved. I'm just going to actually reprompt her really quick, just so you guys can see what this looks like. Image, and then Eve, and then I'll add an EG6 at the end of it. Boom. It replaced all the links, and that was just what writing -- Eve after having her saved in there. So I'm going to copy all those links again. Okay. And we are going to come back up to this region in paint. And then I'm just going to paste the cref into there. So now we basically bypassed the bug right now. And we're going to write multiple expressions cref, but I'm actually going to keep the character reference a bit low because it might be a little too literal with the ink blot style. I'm going to drop that to 10 just to see what it gets us with multiple expressions. I'll hop us back to chat here really quick. Oh, hi, Rhapsody. It's good to see you. Jumps into the stream. She is stressed, sweaty, and way too late. I am here. Yes. Thank you for showing up. I really do appreciate that. That's you don't have to feel obligated, by the way. Like, I really do appreciate that Rhapsody is here. Like, she is awesome. She is my go-to person for, and basically co-host of this show whenever she can come on here. But I cannot get enough of whenever we do our VTuber stuff together. It's too much fun. But I do feel obliged. This is important. It is important in the sense that we want to keep people engaged and interested here and try to make all sorts of new characters for sure. I just want you to know that we really appreciate you whenever you do hop in, Rhapsody. Let's see here. Fungi Mancer. Something seems weird with the select region. It doesn't register when you stop holding the mouse sometimes. I don't know about that. Might be a local bug. I don't know. But you could see here that if we kept the character reference in there, it starts to like merge eyes and do like kind of weird or interesting things. But it kept her hair design. It kept that consistent. Now, if we jump back over to the ones that we did before where there's no character reference in there, suddenly it's like all over the place, but it's mostly anime. Like, it's the just generally way prettier. So I'm gonna focus on trying to get us a healthy middle ground in there. So let's first try to lower the style of this. I keep re-rolling it instead. We need to jump back over to the very region. And instead of running it on default stylize, I'm actually going to drop that to 50. And the idea here is that with a low stylize, we're telling it whatever's currently in the canvas, try to do that more. Don't try too hard, Midjourney. Don't do it. Oh my god, this is way more fun though. I love this one. What are you doing here, really smart? Let me see what you base this off of. Okay, that's cute. Okay, so you did a character weight of 30. You have your character references here, which I believe are just the standard Eve images, right? Okay. Wait, what is that last one? Okay, yes, you did it. Okay. All right, that's just fun though. That's great. Various expressions. Cool. So like if I did like vary region here and then highlight select here. Oh, come on. There we go. Then we should just be able to say submit and then get alternatives that are based off of whatever's on the left side of the screen or the left side of the canvas. But look at this. By dropping the stylize, it is way better at getting a who I believe looks more like Eve here. So let's I don't feel free to keep going in different directions, guys, especially with whatever this is spoken. But I'm gonna go with something a little more like this because to me, it not only is she just kind of like picking her nose and all that kind of stuff, it's too funny to me. But I feel like I can work with this. I can come into here and say, all right, let's expand that 2 more times and see what other expressions we get because there's so many workable similarities here. I don't like the fact that her hair is more flat here, like a more like a hairband. We will probably have to change the top right one to make it consistent. Let's see here. And then when we did the in paint here, look at that. It largely kept the character reference like outfit, right? So if we tried that again, vary region, but then we do not set a character reference, it's going to only refer to the left side of the canvas. So we have to get rid of character weight as well. Leave it at that. Stylized being so high though at 750 means that it could still vary from whatever's on the left side of the canvas. So I'm going to submit it once here, and then I'm going to submit it again, but with only 775 as the stylized, so that it doesn't diversify very much. Let's see what we got coming up here. Okay, so when I zoom out 2 times, look what we got. We got a bunch of different poses from her. I'm looking at these, and I would say I think that top right image is influencing it too much. So if I double back now, it's also a bit dramatic of a zoom out. I'm going to vary region and I'm going to fix all the ones that don't have the right hair. So I'm going to come into here. Let's just select all of this one here. I could just come in and highlight select just the hair that pops out here, but it's all flat. It doesn't pop up like Eve's hair is here normally. So I'm just going to actually select all of this face and just get rid of it. Like that. And we even have a little bit of idiot hair up here that we can get rid of. I'm going to keep the one on the top left because it seems like it could be useful to say, yes, I really want the ponytail to pop up from the head. So let's just go ahead and submit these 2. See what that does. And again, this is with low stylize. With high stylize, look what happens. It doesn't look like the character that's on the left side of the image here, right? But if I look at now the low stylize, now we are getting somewhere when it comes to matching the character design that's already existing in the canvas. So top left, top right, workable. Bottom left needs to have new a hoodie in painted, but the bottom right is workable. Like it all works in that regard. Various happy faces on a single sheet. Happy faces could also be interpreted as like emojis and stuff. So yeah, it is funny whenever that kind of comes up. All right, so this is the one that we in painted. And we want to look for ones that have very similar out. Ooh, the bottom right one looks good because I like that pointed up nose. Look at that. It's preserving the pointed up nose really good on the bottom right. So I'm going to have to go with that one. Okay. And this is a very, I mean, I'm going to say that it's very, like, this is a very Dutch style of the way that they draw noses here on the bottom left, especially where it's just this kind of almost like an N that is, pumping up like that. It's just, it reminds me a lot of that, like Flemish political cartoons. Let's go for that. And then I'm going to zoom up by only 1.5 because the last time we zoomed up by 2, it created a bunch of new poses, and we're just looking at expressions for now. But we could kind of see what we get with 1.5 versus 2. It'll probably be just more focused on higher detail faces. That's good for us. If we don't get anywhere with it, we might just zoom out the 2 times, see what we get. But all right, let's see what we got. Yeah, we didn't really get anything that useful off of that one, and that's okay. We don't really need it. Okay, let's go ahead and jump back up. We have this now. I'm gonna upscale it for us later, but we'll use this image of my new Eve that we've set up here, and we are just going to run that as a quick character reference. So we saw that with riding a horse, our characters became centaurs, which I think is actually this is actually the best time for me to bring this as a segue for that, because this is inevitably going to happen in the next stream. I am going to announce this now. Next week, we are going to be doing a pet themed stream. It is called Bring Your Pet to Midjourney. Yes, it will inevitably be a furry stream. But the key thing here is that this will be a photo bash stream. So bring your pets, bring images of them, make sure you get some good high quality images, and we'll be able to essentially, do everything from making chimeras to doing what I did with Sage here, which is merge the cat that you see on the bottom right corner and Sage's artwork here. So we could do all sorts of stuff by bringing your pets into the equation, and this will be a really fun event for next week. Yes, the Bumble Kitty Bees. Yes, we could definitely make plenty of Bumble Kitty Bees. Whatever you guys want to do, totally down for it, as long as it doesn't violate the rules here on Midjourney. So we'll have that up soon for you guys to check out, and that'll be next Friday. So excited for that. After this stream, though, I will be taking a break for that 1 week because it's my mother's birthday. She'll be turning 70, I believe. Yeah, I'll be off that week. And then back, what is it, the 4th of July? Let's see. Yep, I'll be back on the 5th of July. Yeah. Bumble Kitty Bees are fine. Bumble Kitty Bays are more questionable. I would have to agree. I would very much have to agree with that. Okay. So let's take a look at what we got. Cool. All right, so I didn't run it yet. That's right. I just made the announcement. Cool. So we aren't going to do riding horses because it just makes centaurs. But I am going to say that she is playing her PlayStation 4. And not 5, specifically not 5. And then CRF, we are now going to take this image that we've generated here of her and then paste that in. We might isolate to only 1 or 2 images here, but at least we got this to go with. And then I'll write Niji at the end. Okay. So this is the result that we got. 1, I think the hair is pretty solid. I think the hair works. But I do think that the face is way too round. It borrows too much of the Tiff design for it to feel like it's accurately Eve to me. The face, I think we need a longer face out of this. So we could try re-rolling and doing whatever Boken's doing. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually pull this into Photoshop really quick, and we are going to basically try to we might do it this way, we might not. I'm gonna kind of try both methods here. Let's go ahead and take this into Photoshop really quick. Okay, I have the image here, and the rounded face is largely coming from the fact that there is a round face on some of these character designs here. Okay. So for the sake of simplifying things, I'll first get rid of this extra kind of hair here. I'm actually just gonna fill that. Okay. But the thing is that like the kind of rounded face that comes in, we could actually manipulate the entire image to kind of encourage a certain length of the face. So I'm actually just gonna crunch that down by about 3/4, something like here. Okay. And then I'll copy and bring that over. We're only doing this to get us our initial character turnaround kind of thing. Let's go ahead and see what that does. Fantasy stage. Close all these other windows that I have. So this one's going to be a bit squished. But the ideal here is to get a result that gets us along. Ooh, I like that. I like that one a lot. That's cute. Let's try my prompt I had from here. Now we'll change this to the new link where we kind of crunched it down a little bit. And we'll see if we get a little bit of a... I'll tell you a little bit about Eve. She's from Montreal. She's Quebec. I mean, sorry, she's Quebec. From Quebec, and very very much is it's very loud about it. She'll just start yelling French whenever she gets angry. So it is one of those things where those little like details tend to help me a lot when it comes to like, knowing what to prompt or what to kind of design around a character. But in terms of everything else, like, look what it did. It did a little bit of like, lawn stalking. What is it? Not Pepper Ann. Now I have the freaking theme song for Pepper Ann stuck in my head. Pippi Longstockings. But the face is a lot longer. It is already like way better when it comes to just getting us a longer face. But we could try to describe it now to get us a little closer because it's just her playing PlayStation. So I knew it. I knew that as soon as I mentioned that, it was one of you guys. It was either going to be Kinky or Ancient that goes, "Oh no, you did it to me too." Should I just make everyone get tortured with that now? I probably will in a little bit, but okay. What I'm gonna do though is I'm gonna say like, let's say pointed chin, just a pointed chin. Let's try to describe the one thing that is kind of off about these, is that she doesn't have a pointed chin. I'm gonna see what it does. We can always paint that in, sure, but I feel like we will be able to address the one issue if we can find that. Yes. It's definitely going for the Pippi Longstocking thing going on here though. That's the issue that we got to solve here, is that we either get some long bangs yeah. It's I think I really like this one. Honestly, I'm kind of doubling back on what I was talking about, and I know it's a rounded chin. So let me try this really quick. I'm gonna do very region. And then I'm just going to select her entire mouth area up here, kind of bring it down a little bit, and then I'm going to say pointed chin. And keep the character reference at 0, so we can just make it as interpretive as possible without doing some funky codes on there. She's got front butt on the bottom left one here. It's like from Spaceballs, like when he goes to the teleporter and his butt's on the wrong direction. That thing. Let's see here. Real Smart did some yelling, "Oi!" or "We." We. I definitely, it's so funny how the mouth shape will oftentimes interpret whatever you ask it to say. So like, unless you specifically say a speech bubble that reads and then you write the text, it's not going to do a speech bubble. It almost seems like it does an interpretation of the words, like as if the mouth is trying to say those words. At least how I would logically think it for cartooning. So let's see about the, yes, it's this one here. Oh, it's still rendering. Okay, hold on. This top right one's so funny with the sharp bird like nose. Yeah, it's hilarious. Mine is still rendering 85%. Let's just give it a moment here. What? Okay, I'm gonna check this out in just a sec, but I saw Boken's style reference for a moment. What is this? This is reminding me of that the one anime about the whole city's run on poop. What is, I forgot what it's called now. But it the art style is like so poppy. Like it's awesome. I love this. If you know the artist Boken, I would love to know. It's the cover. It's an art cover from a musician. Oh, okay. Be sure to drop it in the text chat so that we know who it is. But this is awesome. Okay, all right. So we didn't really get the pointed chin, but I do like her mouth in this one. I noticed that there's an expansion of this though that's being worked on. So let's take a look at that one really quick. Where was it? Aha. So you can see that by removing the character reference and keeping the stylized pretty high, riding a bicycle gets to just if she's riding on a roof, by the way, which is just kind of funny that she's parkouring on a bicycle on clay roof tiles. It's that's pretty entertaining, but also not completely nonsensical. You would do so much damage to those roofs riding the bicycle like that. But let's go ahead back down here. Um, okay, so the V6 ones are bizarre, Boken. They're great. Like some of them are really fun. Like I like the bottom left one a lot. But in terms of anatomy, it tends to get all over the place when it comes to that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do a variation strong off of let's do this bicycle one really quick. Um, but I'm gonna grab Tiff here, this image of Tiff, and I'm gonna do a variation strong, but I'm going to set the style reference to this image of Tiff, and we'll see if how it interprets that. We'll see how well it does. Um, so you might be asking, why am I doing Tiff and Eve again? Because it was a little bit ago, not that long ago. Well, actually, a little bit ago that I did Tiff and Eve here. It was during the Bay Rate interview, I believe, was the last time we brought up her art. She is a comic artist who posts to Reddit. Talks a lot about trans issues and stuff like that. But the main thing I wanted to share with you guys, and I'll post this up um, on the voice, or sorry, on VC text here. But I'm excited to announce for her that Tiffany has broken 1 million views on Webtoons. So you can click it there, subscribe there, all that kind of stuff. You would support her immensely if you subscribe to her on Webtoons. But even more so if you're able to subscribe to her on Patreon. So what I've done is inside of every one of the character references here, which I had open here for a second. Hold on. This one here. Inside of the character references, you're going to notice that there's a link to her Patreon. So the more that you guys use this as a character reference, the more you're actually helping promoting her stuff, because people see that, they link to it, they get curious about it. And when we did the holiday stream, she saw a small boost in numbers in her Patreon. But when we did the Bay Raid interview, and in the middle of the interview, we featured her artwork in the middle of that, her Patreon got much bigger after that. It was awesome to see you guys all coming in and supporting her. But please, 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 check out her comics and see what what Tiff and Eve are up to inside of small town Minnesota. Out just outside of Minneapolis, St. Paul. So yeah, I love her series to death. It's so awesome. Um, but what we're basically doing here is we are taking her art and recontextualizing it to do what you guys want to do with it. And I do want to get to the point where we're basically remaking one of her comics inside of Midjourney here. But I want to show first the result of doing the style reference, and then we'll start to recreate one of the comics. So you can see here that I believe it was this one. Yes, that when I asked it to do a variation strong, it's her on the bicycle. So it basically like turned the position of the bicycle, but it also re-rounded her chin again. There's a little bit of interpretation that goes on with that, and she's even wearing glasses in one of them. It's a little looser than I would have wanted for Eve. So I'm gonna go more for something that probably because she looks a lot like Mabel. Honestly, she looks a lot like Mabel from um the Mystery Shack show, which I'm blanking on the title of it right now. But
Gravity Falls.
Gravity Falls. Thank you so much. Yes, everyone loves Mabel. Mabel's great. She is certainly great. Um, it's I love how Ancient's like this like knowledge base of cartooning that I really should have a better handle on, but it's like I could just like I made a subtle reference to Full Metal Alchemist earlier, and he nailed it like without even questioning. It was great. Um, let's see here. Okay, I'm gonna go for let's go for this one, the second one here. I'm just gonna grab this one because it does kind of distort her face a little bit, and I want a little bit of that distortion in here just to see what our blends look like. So she is riding a bicycle. It's a prop. We'll probably have to crop out the bicycle for this to work properly. But what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna do a hybrid blend. I'm gonna basically combine her art with a generated version of her art. And the reason I'm doing this is because I want to bring in some of the rules of the generated imagery to the drawn art so that it kind of starts to merge those two concepts as opposed to like arbitrary line art. That'll make more sense here in a second. So I'm going to first copy this image. We're going to bring it over to Photoshop here. Paste this. I'm just going to copy just everything from her that isn't indicating a bicycle. So like, let's go for like here. Okay. Copy that. And then I'm going to bring it over to Discord again here. Paste that. And now we are going to try to do a hybrid prompt here. So basically I'm going to first do it as just an image blend. We'll paste the link here, -- Eve, and then Niji6. So what it's essentially going to do is we have the first image, which is our generated image, and then we have 4 images of the drawn version of Eve here. And you can notice we're actually getting much more continuity right off the bat when it comes to anatomy. Like the shapes of things makes a little more sense right off the bat. But we can get a little closer with weighting. So if we weight the first image to be about even to all the combination of the others. So there's 4 other links that are drawn and 1 that's generated. So let's do ::4, which gives that first link a weight of 4. And then we'll leave the others at default. So they're all 1. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4. And then this is worth 4. So it's a total of 8. That is the weight of this is at 8. You cannot go into the negatives. That is the main thing with weighting on individual links and prompts, multi-prompting, that kind of thing. You really have to make sure that you don't get in the negatives. But look at this. Look at this. we get the kind of like the mouth shape that I had earlier, but it's blended now with the more minimalist decisions from Fran. So it lets us be able to say, okay, that second one works great. Like it's starting to nail some key aspects here. Now I can use this as a character reference. Okay. Just this one image now. Now that we've kind of merged all those together, we are no longer going to get the kind of like pixelated line art issue that we had earlier, because it is a fully generated, derivative of that. We'll make it a character reference. We'll add DG6 to the end, and then I'll just start to describe the character: a red head, ponytail, green long sleeve, and if I run that as is, it's redundant. I didn't really need to write all that in the prompt because because the character reference is going to dominate the result. But if I now write it as character weight 0 and add that, we're going to actually allow for a lot of reinterpretation of the character. But because I wrote a description of the character with it, it kind of like it gets us like this like interesting middle ground of like, yeah, look at this. We immediately have something that brings us to new like emotional depth to it. Like there's like that we're not getting the same zany cartoon character every time now. Even we have a little bit of Asuka sort of hair at the last one here. But I really do like how some of this interpretation of the longer faces for Eve on this one particularly. I think this is interesting. Um, let's run this one really quick as its own character reference, and then we'll put them side by side and throw them in a comic. Okay. So I'll run this one as a CRF. Do that. Niji. Go watch this before it's too late. I'm not clicking any of your links, dude. Okay. So let's do let's just have her waiting in line for ice cream. That was a prompt I ran earlier, so let's just submit that. Okay. Now I feel like we're going to get really close to what we want, but we can actually take our favorites and merge them together. Essentially, the what's going to happen here. Yes. Yes, this is much more the direction that I wanted to go in with her. You know what she actually reminds me of here? Yeah, I figured I wouldn't click them. That's why they're getting nuked. But if I look here, you know what this reminds me of? Okay, there's actually one of Fran's major inspirations is featured right here. So I don't know if it's just we like deduced the Foxtrot comic style, which is like, something that she is a big fan of. But I want you guys to look at the bottom left character there, okay, and compare it to this. Look at Foxtrot's characters and like side by side with that. Isn't that so on point? Like it's kind of scary
Yeah,
how
it's
close that
looking
is.
similar.
That is so similar. Yeah, it's awesome. So if we'll just go with that because I know that she's a huge fan of Foxtrot. So this is hilarious. This is awesome. And if we wanted to go farther with it, right? We just need to keep blending and merging and figuring out where the character is for us. But I think this is great. I think this works. We got this off of this result, so I want to keep this one. I want to make sure that we keep this one. So let's go ahead and try to do multiple expressions on this just to see what we get. We can do custom zoom. Keep the zoom at 2. I'm going to actually change the aspect ratio to 3:2, and then get rid of the we'll get rid of the character reference for now. And then I'm going to say multiple expressions just to see what we get off of this, and then I'll submit that. But we can already begin the comic process of trying to basically what we're going to do is we're going to first put Eve into the comic, and then we are going to pan or do an in paint to include Tiff in the comic as well. So the only thing I'm going to do is grab this character reference right here, copy this, and we are going to look what it did here. The expressions that it had no idea really how to interpret that cartoony zany face, right? So what we can do to force a more like how she looks, we can actually take multiple images of her that we liked. So let's do like this one and even this one. Yeah. All right. These are all generated images. I'm going to now re-roll this zoom out, but I'm going to re-include a CREF. But this time we're going to include all the images that we've generated of her so far. Okay? Because they kind of give us a range to work with. One. Not that one. We'll include this one too. Why not? 2. 3. The only thing that you cannot do with doing character referencing with multiple links is you can't weight them individually. Like they need to be we need to make sure that we're happy with the result of just doing a straight blend of them all. But we'll combine all these together. Okay? And then submit that. Oh, image filters. Wow, we got denied by an image filter on one of these. I wonder which one. I have a theory. Is it gonna be this one? Let's see. Sometimes you'll get you'll hit by an image filter like this. So I'm just going to write this one by itself. I hope it's not this one because this is the one with the foxtrot face in it. So need G6. And I'm just going to say dancing. It is that one. Damn it. Okay. All right. So we got to clean up a couple of things about it. Yeah. It's got to be that reflection line along the chest. That's got to be what it is. We could easily try to reduce that a little bit. So I'm just going to kind of select the chest area here and encourage a different result. And we'll just hit submit for that. But for now, I'll grab all the other links that were used. Oh, this one's cute. That's right. This is a cute one from earlier. I'll include that one too. Really smart. I'll make sure that's in there too. It might think it's a corset, right? It probably does think it's a corset. Okay. Okay. Wow. Okay. That's a oof. That's let's go ahead and I'm gonna re-roll that. Let's go for all the other images then, just to get us somewhere. Gonna combine all these other ones that that didn't hit the filter. Okay, that should be all the others. Niji, and then add CREF in the front of this, and then I'm gonna write multiple comic panels just to get us something. And I'll write an aspect ratio that's pretty common for comics. Normally 1:1 or this square is like meta, whatever. Comic book strips are 5:2 or 5 lengths wide, 2 lengths high. But for the sake of web comics today, AR 4:5 or 2:3 is the best. So we're just going to do AR 4:5. Okay. And if I just get rid of the chest line on this one, I think it'll be fine. Like if I just do the second one here, I think it'll be okay. But let's take a look what happened when we blended all these images together. We got a variety of noses out of this. They're all pointed. That's all good. They all have that kind of upward bend to them. But I'm going to see what happens if we just run this one image here. Because blends, the problem that we have with blends is that we end up introducing a lot of variety in the results as is, and that's because it's the equivalent of just running this as an image blend where they're all merged together. What we can do to kind of fix that is let's try to now run this prompt of waiting in line for the ice cream, which I do like the result you got there, man. But we're gonna run this as one image and see. Yes, okay. I think we got past the prompting issue there. The image filter anyway. Okay, let's take a look. Oh wow, it did even worse when it came to the nose consistency. It's all over the place with this one. That's probably because the foxtrot nose is now disrupting. Yes, or yes, that's what's happening. So we have this kind of different face here. If we just isolated to this one, it'd be great. But I just fell in love with that quirky, like, almost like woodpecker face. So I'm gonna move on from that one. And I do, I do like what you're going here with this though. That's the expressions on these are awesome. What did you do here? It's real smart. Various expressions, but then they combine these two images here. This one in this one. Okay, so you're combining two very similar images. What if we did?
Really
Sorry,
smart is wicked intelligent.
clearly it's in their name. He. Let's go ahead and combine this one and that one result that we got that was really good from the like where these all kind of combined together. Let's just do that. So I'm gonna hit this as a style reference actually, and we'll submit that and see what it does. And let's see. Is there just one image from earlier that I really like? That isn't it's this one. Okay. So let's combine these two together as well, and we'll just do an image blend for these. This one and this one. I have too many tabs open. I need to fix that. All right. Nuked it. There you go. Okay. So when we did that as a style reference of that, I mean, we got some really cool expressions for Eve here. I really like the top left one actually. It's that kind of like I don't know, just kind of she's a carpenter. Like that's her day job. So if you want to prompt around her job, you can make her a carpenter. But you could see here that when we did the straight combination of these two results, I actually think we got really close. So this is really smart. Kind of like fanciful, well, not fanciful, but like web comic style, mixed with a generated result we got with Eve having a little more of a pointed face. I'm gonna actually re-roll this one a couple times because I think this might be it. This might be the one that nails it. The last nose, though, I thought there was something in there for a second. Oh no. So what you could see here that I like what it is, but this almost seems like Eve at high school. Especially the top right there. It reminds me of like this would be Eve at high school. But I want to get us to the point where we have a consistent turnaround of the character. But we can't really get there until we really nail the characteristics of the face, like particularly the nose and stuff like that. I think if I actually zoom into this first one here, and then we zoom out of that, we might be able to kind of infer more of a blues. What do you call that? Not Blues Clues. There's home movies. It kind of looks a little more like home movies with an anime fling, a little bit of Shin Chan and home movies mixed together. That's what I get off of that one. But I'm not really too big of a fan of what we got off of this. I think this. Maybe. I want to kind of come back up here a little bit. We might need to isolate just one of these and use that. It does have a lot of trouble with the very exaggerated facial expressions, like cartooning expressions and stuff. Let's go back down here. See what we're getting here. Well, that's loading. I do want to thank everyone for being here. We do have a couple different ways that you guys can interact with us if you're new here. I've been seeing people coming in and out all day, so I figured there might be a couple new folks here. Yeah, it's good to see you, Enid. Phoenix, thank you so much for coming in here, and Tanner too, of course. It's good to see you guys both here. But the way that it works here is that you can come on to VC Text or VC Create in order to collaborate with us today. So you'll find that just above the stage here on Discord, you'll see that there is a VC Create and VC Text. Everything that we're prompting is inside of VC Create. You're welcome to come in here, remix any of the prompts we're working on, post your own, that kind of thing. But you can also go up to VC Text and chat with us, which is everything is going to end up on YouTube here. So it is something that I expect you guys, that if you are interested in getting your character out there. I really love this show. I really do. Thank you so much, Rhapsody. I appreciate these little like Pico Labs animated moments, and it's of course Boken too. Anytime there's a goofy little GIF, I do have to click on it to see what it does. But yes, it is. I do appreciate it, of course. But the important thing is that there's two ways you can interact with us today. Even if you just got a couple ideas that you want to share, feel free to share it. Very curious to see what you guys want to do here. But oh my god, what it did to her hips. Um uh oh wow. I'm gonna okay. There's a French movie called The Triplets of Belleville. Okay, it's about three old ladies. I have never seen more hips than in that one movie. Uh don't start Boken. The thing is that like they're not women's hips. It's bikers. It's like people on bicycles, and it's saying just how exaggerated their muscle structure is from biking all the damn time. It is, yeah, calves, yeah. It's all just everything from the waist down is so exaggerated in terms of the anatomy that it looks like this. It looks like the top right
Pixar
here.
butt.
It's a butt. Yeah.
It's a Pixar butt.
There you go. All right, so
Looks
let's
like
Pixar mom.
Elastigirl.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, a lot of Pixar mom kind of comments. I bet there was a lot of them. Not maybe not last week, but the week before. I forgot what the subject was, but the return that I got, the review that I got from you guys was Pixar mom. So yeah, okay, so it's this one. I think this is probably our best performing picture right now because look at the Carpenter one. Like this is really fun. It definitely varies a lot in the chin. We're gonna have to do some in painting for the chin and stuff like that. Um, but let's try to get Eve here into a comic book prompt, and then we'll use Fran's comic as a style reference to get her like maybe doing one of the comics here. So I'm gonna write this as a character reference. And then we will set this as an aspect ratio of 4:5. And I'm going to hit multiple comic panels as the actual prompt. And we'll submit that for now. But the thing is that you might be like, but where's the creativity in that? Like, it's just asking for panels. We're really letting Midjourney go nuts with this idea. We could add a different other variable like chaos and stuff like that. But I just want to see what it does with it natively. Like, what is it just going to do off of a very simple prompt? That is with V6, so we got to add Niji to it as well. So you can see the V6 one, nuts. It just goes nuts at the idea of whatever a comic book is, mixed with realism imagery and all sorts of other stuff. It's just intense. But if we do multiple comic panels and we do include Niji, I not only do we get not any comic panels so far, but we definitely get somewhere closer to what I would expect that we want for our character design here. So let's go ahead and re-roll that, but we're gonna set the character weight to 0, just so we could see if we could reintroduce the idea of comic panels to this. She still looks a lot like Mabel. A lot like Mabel, real smart in that one. We got the chin. Look at this. Oh, she's kind of smoking, but look at this. Wow. Wow, I think we nailed it on this one. So let's go ahead and very region the smoke out of her mouth. She definitely, I mean, it would be pretty French Canadian to be smoking a cigarette, I gotta admit. But
What if it's cold out?
yeah, what if it's cold? It's just yeah, it is. Yeah, yeah, that's true. Getter says, I'm tired and it's late. Thanks for your time, Victor. Engaging as always. Good night, folks. Take care. No, thank you so much for joining, Getters. Thank you so much. Happy Pride. And thank you so much for throwing in your prompts, throwing in your ideas, and just kicking ass today. Thank you. Anytime we got regulars coming in here, happy Pride. It will be officially Pride Day coming up here pretty soon too. My wife will be working sadly, but I'll go out for her and we'll have a good time with friends and all that kind of stuff. Okay, all right. So we definitely got something I feel like is way more like Eve here. The I have to look at the reference actually to see. So if we compare these results here, um I'm just gonna paste this image of Eve here. Okay, so we have this kind of like, the upper lip's a little farther in front to the back lip, and there's a pointed chin. So that knocks out the the top left and the bottom right, in my opinion. I think we'll get way frumpier faces if we pick the top right. So I'm gonna go with the bottom left. And look at this, the emphasis on the chin for the bottom panel here could actually be very, very useful for us. So let's go ahead and copy this and use this as the character reference. We probably need to draw on some pupils, but let's go ahead and try this. And even this is incremental steps, guys. Like this only comes up because I wrote multiple comic panels, right? And it gave us a little bit of like angles and things that we weren't really initially asking for. So I'm going to run that whole prompt again, but with a new character reference. And then we'll start to introduce the comics themselves. Yes, I think this is probably going to work well. So this is what I'm going to ask you guys to do now. Because I do need to take a little bit of a breather. Oh my, I love what you guys are doing in terms of combining all the results here. Look at all these. That's awesome. This is what I'm going to ask you guys to do because Fran reached 1 million on Webtoons. I do want to mention this too. Please pick your favorite, pick your comics and link them here. I will use them as a source reference. I posted inside of VC text. Whatever comic you guys pick, please try it. There's a couple of them that might be a little too lewd for Midjourney, so just pick your favorites. I'm gonna take 2 minutes here to let my dogs out for a second. But I want you guys to pick your comics because those are the ones that we're gonna try to recreate today. If you don't, no big deal. I'll just pick one at random. But the last little bit that I'll add is that 1 million sounds like a lot, and it certainly is. It's a wonderful achievement for her. But the main thing is she doesn't make any money off of the webtoons because she doesn't want to censor herself. You'll see that there are comics that make fun of Domino's, that make fun of various different companies, and webtoons does not allow you to do that. They censor you from talking about corporate logos. Like you can't even use a corporate logo. You can't even use anything like that. You can't even refer to these companies. Like if she refers to Domino's and talking about pizza, she has to change the wording to pizza, and she just doesn't want to do that. So the best way to keep her from having to censor herself is to support her on Patreon. So, but yeah, it is dumb though, right, Kinky?
Like Pizza Lowe's or something.
Right, yeah, you pick almost everybody like picks some goofy name that's close and goes with that.
Yeah.
But it just doesn't feel real. It just and I get she has principles. Like she's not going to do that for money, So
no, I totally get it.
But all right, I'm going to give you guys some time to dig through these comics. And I'll leave one up as Let's see here. Not the breaking news one. Let's see here.
Victor's gonna go take off his shoes because he's letting his dogs out.
Just for a minute. Just for a minute. They were crying at me, and I don't want to. I don't want them to get in the way. You know what I mean?
Like these dogs are barking, taking off his shoes.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, yeah.
Let the dogs out.
Yeah. Feel free to go through these guys, and I'll just do I'll just take a panel from the wedding, so that you guys can see this one. Um, let's go with this one. I'll leave this one up. And I'll be right back, guys. Right back.
All right. Which one do you guys think you're gonna pick? Oh, wow, there's a lot of comments since I last looked at this chat. Hey, I'm in the seat. um, how did I get here? This is not my beautiful death. This
Are
is
you
not
sure?
my beautiful stage. Right? Um, so is everybody picking out a comic? Are you posting it in VC Create when you find it? Did he ask you guys to do that? If he didn't, you probably should. I love the different versions of the characters you guys made, like with the different looks and styles, because they're all you can tell who they are. Some of these kind of look like they're characters in other cartoons already. You know what I mean? Like they would be NPCs in other character universes, but like they have their own lives. But, but like if they were in Family Guy, Peter wouldn't know about Tiff and Eve, but they'd be there, and they wouldn't know about Peter and Lois and all the others. Um, but they could definitely live in Quahog, you know, or or those universes. Oh, really good. You guys did such a good job. I got interrupted while I was gone for a second by having to talk to a health insurance person. So I got nice and furious for a few minutes, and now I'm back.
Never fun having to deal with that stuff.
No, no, I definitely told him that it sounded stupid and that I had to go. I said this sounds stupid. I have to go. I I'm not even sure he wasn't trying to scam me. Like he was like, by the end of this phone call, you're gonna have to pay $375, or
Call me back and
or
leave a
else the
message.
price will change, and I can't send you paperwork until you've locked in the payment.
Yeah, that definitely sounds scammy.
I'm like, you don't think you sound scammy right now? And he's like, you think it sounds scammy? This is what the government wants. And I'm like, the whole government sounds scammy. I gotta go. But like, if you don't take the phone call when it comes, you'll never get a hold of them.
Yeah.
It is a cute pointy nose. I have a cute pointy nose myself.
Alrighty. Sorry about that, guys.
No worries. I was talking about how some of the styles that they made for the characters, you can definitely tell who they are. But it was interesting to me that, like, you know, they could be like NPCs in some other cartoons, like a specific one. Like if they were in Family Guy, they would live in the same neighborhood as Peter and Lois, but like
Yeah.
they wouldn't know each other, but they both all have like their own things going on in life. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Yeah.
But they would remain unaware of each other, but they could live in the same neighborhood, you
Yeah.
know?
And that's what's so exciting about style referencing is that we can bring everyone into the same, world in that way.
Hmm.
So if you guys do style reference like Family Guy or whatever, you're going to see, like that kind of merger, that kind of like unified world. It's very cool. I really dig it. So let's see here. Um, all right, so let's just pick one of these at random really quick then. Let's say I'm obsessed with Eve's cherry trick. Okay, we got one from Really Smart. All right, let's grab that one then. So number 59. Let's see here. Eve's cherry trick. I'm gonna Google that to the side here really quick. I gotta check the comic first.
Is
Uh,
that check? Is that tying the cherry stem in a knot with their mouth?
let's see.
That's the only cherry trick I know.
All right. I see. Okay. So this is a bit of an older one from her. Let me see here. Okay, yeah. Let's post that one here. Okay. So this is the comic here. It's hey there, want to see a trick I can do with cherry? Oh yeah, sure. And then she spits it across the bar. He goes, ha, look at that. From like 10 feet. You should see what she could do with an avocado pit. Check, please. Okay, perfect. This is great. So, what we could do is we are going to grab this link. We've posted the comic now in Discord, so that gives us a link we can work with. Okay. So, we got some fun results off of this one character reference here, this one here. So let's go ahead and write. We'll re-roll that and we'll write style reference and then paste her comic at the end there. We have multiple comic panels and we have an aspect ratio of 4:5, which matches her aspect ratio. Okay. And we're going to submit that. We'll see what we get off of that. The thing is that the higher we set the style weight of this, the more likely we're going to get this sort of 4-panel layout. So look at that. Look at the way that it merged some of like, oh wow, it did a really fun job with this. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna try to increase the style reference weight. So SW, and I'm gonna hit that to 750. The default's 100. So going really high with this number will make it more and more derivative of what's in the style reference. I do really like. Oh my god, I'm liking this a lot. Okay, this second one here is just straight up. Uh, yes, I love this. This is too fun. Um, Now we're getting a lot of profiles, right? And that's because that in the character reference, it's really just a profile that's there. We could try to, expand out and provide more diversity for that, but let's try dropping the character weight just a little bit instead. So I'm gonna drop it to 50. We'll see if we get her turning her head a little more and stuff. But this is really fun. I like this. We're not giving a premise yet. We'll make the premise match the bar scene here. So I think this works, but it's definitely showing mostly profiles, which is understandable. Let's try to describe the comic here. Multiple comic panels depicting let's do 3 friends at the bar. She is holding a cherry. Okay. I'm just going to submit that. And if we really, really want it to be like, we want to do like a literal interpretation of this, we can also include the style reference as an image blend onto it. So look at this. Okay, so we have the cherry and a drink. We have okay. Look at the bottom right one here. She's got the cherry close to her mouth, right? So we could easily in paint a couple things around this to make it work. But I do think we're gonna probably have to expand on the character reference a bit here. But what I'm gonna do is I'm also going to include the comic to the front of it as well. So we're gonna blend the comic in with the prompt. So this is kind of redundant, but we're essentially trying to enforce that the people who are sitting with her at the bar. And okay, so we got much more of an interaction when it comes to two people sitting next to each other. Okay. So I'm gonna re-roll this one again, but I'm seeing that we could get something useful out of this. Particularly the top left one, where there's clearly a cherry being held, all that kind of stuff. So let's see here. Okay. So because we're working with the 4 panels here, we are getting a little bit of like merger of things, right? Like we don't get the characters sitting next to each other or anything like that. So what I'm gonna try to do is I am actually going to take the comic panels here, and we'll start with just the first panel here. So I'll just use the snipping tool for this. Snip this first panel, copy this, and then for I have to actually paste it so I get a link. Now I'll use this as the image blend. Okay. We won't write multiple comic panels. We'll just say a comic panel depicting 3 friends at the bar. She is holding a cherry. And then I'm going to replace that link in the front with that link of just the single panel. So we're essentially trying to say, hey, constrain the whole composition to just this one panel. And we're a little closer, definitely. Like that top left one is pretty funny to me. But what we're gonna do is let's try increasing the image weight. That's another parameter, IW. So this is going to, we have character weight that's affecting the CREF. We have style weight, which is affecting the style reference, but now we have image weight, which is affecting only the link that's in the front here. I know it's a lot of parameters, guys, but this really lets us get more control out of this. So with an image weight of 3, which is the max, we are going to try to forcibly constrain the composition of this as much as possible. And we'll see what we get out of it. Okay, yes, we got her holding the cherry. Okay. So if you look at the bottom left, there's like a cherry here. It's good to see you. Thank you so much for coming, Enid. Really do appreciate it. But what we're gonna do is we're seeing that we're getting something that works. There's cherry in the mouth up here. There's cherry down there. So I haven't used periods and prompts. Do they function differently than commas? Well, V6 heavily prefers like full sentences. At least when it comes to like understanding what you want for your prompts. So if you put commas, it tends to like just generally include them. But if you include full sentence structure, it helps a lot. So what I'm gonna do here is let me drop the character weight even more. Let's drop it to 10. And then we'll see what we get. At least see if we get a little closer to what the composition is here. Okay. Yes. All right. So we see that she's holding the cherry here. And what we can do to kind of like bring out the character back, or at least to bring the character back in. Oh, what is this from Fungi Mancer? Okay, yeah, very similar. But let's go ahead and start with this one here. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually in paint Eve back in with a high character weight, so 9. I'm gonna drop the image weight a little bit, or just take it out entirely, actually. And I'm just going to replace everything but the cherry with this with the character reference here, and then we'll submit that for now, just because I'm going to replace it with whatever that dude is, the person who's next to her there. I might get rid of one of the references here, just because I do feel like we're getting into like convoluted territory where we're not really getting full control that we want, but we'll see what we get. We'll see what we get off of this. Her head is enormous here. That's fine. We'll be able to make it work. Okay. This is silly. I'm gonna go with man, I'm gonna be honest, y'all. I'm not really too happy with these. I almost feel like I want to do a pan over, and then we can kind of recreate the concept a little differently. You know what? Let's do it this way. Let's have Midjourney describe this image here and see what we get. Okay? Because we might be able to recreate it with words and then have the character reference be a variation subtle on top of it. So I take wherever this result is, this one here, this comic panel, and I'll put that in here and then run /describe on it. Okay, cool. So look at that. It already recognized that there's 3 people at a bar. One woman is a redhead holding a cherry in her mouth, saying, "I'm injecting an energy shot into myself." 2 men in their 30s on either side. It misgendered Tiff there, but that's fine for now. But let's go ahead and hit Imagine All on these. Now it's going to do them all with V6, right? It's not going to do it with Niji. So we will change these to Niji 6 by the time they're done here. But we might be able to kind of understand the intent a little better by doing this. So let's see. Look at some of these. Some of these look ridiculous. You'll see that having an animated conversation. I like that. That's cute. Let's do having an animated conversation at the bar. At the bar, she is holding a cherry. I'm just live remixing off of you guys right now to see what we get, because this is from Dr. Sandwich. I really, really like these zany kind of cartoon characters, though. Look at that. Look at that. Okay. This is super fun. Dr. Sandwich might have cracked this one for me. But now if I grab my character reference here, we need to merge a couple of these. I want to see what their character references are. This one. Ooh, it's a good one. I didn't see this one. That's a good one. And it's this one. Okay. Let me just confirm that really quick. It's first and second. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to replace the second link with I believe this is the image I have here. Yes, of this one. Just to get us a little more pointed of a chin, I think. Cool. Kind of did. Kind of didn't. That's fine. I do like this a lot, though. Let's go ahead and let's see what the style reference is. Okay, cool. It's still that. I'm gonna go with yeah. Let's try to do the image weight and let it guide the result a little bit on this one. Default prompt on that. But now let's take a look at the ones where we did the /describe on. And I would say the one that kind of completely encapsulate the concept is this one. And the other ones don't have multiple panels. And this one. I would say those are the ones that have the most accurate to the idea of what we're going for. So let's go ahead and grab our character reference here. did he save the name of character somewhere? I can show you how to do that. It's called /prefer to save it as Eve here. This is I think doable. I think this works, especially that top right one's pretty solid. But that's because I ran it as an image blend to the front. So let's grab the character references for this one. Okay. You know what? I'm not even going to grab the style reference. I'm just going to grab all this. And it's pretty low on the character weight. So let's go ahead and re-roll one of these /describes. I'm not even going to worry about reading it all. I'll run it with Niji. And then I'll add the character reference into there and the style reference. And then I'll put the character weight at like a 90, just to get us a pretty high number on there. Okay. I'm going to copy all those codes again, and we'll try that on a different one of these /describes. This one here. Okay. Yes. Okay. This works. So, the /describe went pretty ham at describing details that aren't there in the comic and all that kind of stuff, but it definitely did the intent of putting the cherry in her mouth and having it be like more of a pointed face. Like it's nailing it in my opinion in terms of some of the details here. So let's go ahead and check out. Hey, I want to see what we can do with each cherry. Like it's whatever's written here. Hey, I want to see a string trick. We can do something with each cherry is what Midjourney thought it said. So we can actually take it from the comic, right? Let's see here. I'm gonna re-roll this, and we'll write the correct quote here. Hey there. You've finally woken up. Hey there. Want to see a trick I can do with this cherry? And then another man in blue says, "Oh sure. Oh sure." I don't know why she. Yeah, oh sure. Let's do sure, and then submit that, just so that it's a little more accurate. I do love this though. It's goofy. It's got all the characteristics, right? But it's done in such a a fun way. Hey there, trick. I want to see to do with this chair. Yeah. It's a lot of times with Midjourney when it comes to text, it'll do some funky stuff to try. So you can always in-paint new text and figure it out. You can also like if there's like half panels like this, right? You can come in and do a vary region on just half of it. Like something like this. Okay. And then we'll do vary region again, but onto the other half of it. And then save those out as two different generations. They will most likely not be split down the middle. It really just matters how aggressive your in paint is for that. But I am really, really liking this this second Eve that you guys put together here. Like that's so cool. I really do like that one. It does have a bit of a funky thing going on with the chin and face though. Like we probably getting a little bit of confusion from that. And you can see there you go. Like want to see a neat trick I could do with this cherry? And and that's the other half of it where she's kind of winking and she's got the cherry in her mouth on the top right here. So it's already working. It's already doing it. So let's go ahead and grab one of these. I think I want to do the third one here. Okay. And we need to in-paint the guy into there, or we could put Tiff in the background, right? But let's actually get the guy in there. I think we can quickly make the guy. So to do that, I'm just going to open up her comic inside of Photoshop here. And we're literally just gonna in paint this guy in there. We're just gonna pan the guy in there and see how well it matches the styles. So I'll go ahead and do tablet, and we were like, there's a pretty good zoom up of him right here. I usually try to go for whatever's the biggest image of the character that's from the comic. So I'll grab this one, paste that into Discord here, and oh, come on, I got to get rid of all these tabs. Grab this one here. And now, look, I mean, the backgrounds match because we had such a high image. We had a higher image weight earlier. So let's go ahead and pan over, include him as the C ref, and leave everything else the same. Okay. We'll see if it's able to basically rewrite the guy on the right here. If not, then we will in paint the character back in afterward. And for the folks who are coming in a little late and stuff, just know that we do have the pet stream next week. This is going to be a really, really fun stream. It's also my cat's 20th birthday that week. So she'll be 20 years old, and we'll be basically celebrating her birthday through the stream. So that'll be fun. But I did, as an example for you guys, mixing my character Sage with that kitten that's on the bottom right corner. I did Photoshop the eyes to be looking up at her, like all concerned that she's gonna be like coming up to scoop her or whatever. But the picture of Victor as the dog is actually Bay Rate's dog from the Lord of the Ring movies when he came in here and did an interview with us. It's his dog mixed with Victor, my OC here. So the image blending is a super fun way to mix recognized or relatable people, but also pets. Like also if you want to see like your pet as like a like a knight in shining armor in a fantasy world, we'll probably do plenty of fantasy stuff next week. So I hope to see you guys join next week for that. It's going to be a really dumb, fun, weird stream. I'm sure it'll be weird. But let's hop back into this now. Look at that. All right. So, because of the, the character weight set to 90, it's very, very strictly looking like the blonde guy in here. Okay. So why don't we give it a little more freedom I mean, look, it even did like the slicked back hair. Like that's awesome. But I'm going to give it a little more freedom to place the character a little more naturally into the frame. And I'll do that by setting the character weight to 0 to start. We'll see how that one comes out. Okay. All right. Cool. All right. So with the character weight set to 0, it's a little more comfortable in the frame, a little closer to the character that's in the back. Okay. I'm going to say that the nose is very much Eve's nose in a lot of these too. So we'll probably in paint his nose to be a little different. But in terms of the slick back hair though, let's bring up the character weight just a little bit. Let's bring it up to 20. Some of the results that I got off of like default Tiff, right? Like with the character weight set to like set to 0 still gave me like very usable results. I got some really fun ones of her having ice cream at a fair that I did. And then this is what kind of prompted the horse one was like I got really normal her riding horses, and then I did it with Eve, and it's like, or at least I did it here, and suddenly all you guys are like looking at centaurs the whole time. Okay. Let's do this. Okay, so I like the first one here because it implies depth and direction, even though the eyes will almost never look in the correct direction because that implies a creative intent or a human intent that we can easily change just by adjusting them in Photoshop, right? So or whatever image program you want. So I'm gonna go with this one for now. But in order to make this consistent, I also need to make sure Tiff is in there accurately, and I need to make sure that that eventually the tail of the voice is not pointed at the blonde guy because she's saying this whole line. Want to see a trick I can do with the cherry? And again, the text is kind of overlapping. We have to change some things for that. But let's go ahead and grab Tiff again here. Grab her character reference. This one right here. Copy that. And now I'm going to inpaint her into the background here. But in order for me to do that, I can't just select all of this character here because the obvious decision for Midjourney is just to delete the character. It'll probably do something weird if I don't leave some amount of this as being Tiff. It could be the outfit that I need to leave. It could be the head or whatever. But I think just to start, I can get away with just the chin. So if I set just the chin to not be inpainted, but I make sure everything that's wrong, that's not Tiff, is selected here. Let's go for something like this. Okay. Then it should share her mouth, or it should share the mouth between the two characters, but it also positions the scale of the character. That's super important as we get into this, is that if you just inpaint whole characters into there, you'll have almost no control of scale without doing some pretty funky stuff. So we're gonna replace the character reference with Tiff, and then I'll set the character weight to 90 to start, just so we get a really, really good derivative of her, and we see how well it places her with the mouth there. And if we want to, we can describe her, Oh, look at this. What are you doing here? A comic of friends drinking at the bar. C-ref, C-ref, S-ref. Okay, what's your S-ref? Okay, cool. And then your C-ref is it... Okay, you got Tiff, and you got them sitting together. Okay. That's a fun way to do it. So you're essentially image blending and letting Eve be like a redheaded sister for Tiff by doing this. But you could easily inpaint Eve now to be, what is it, to be more accurate. So, for example, and I'll move on from this in just a second, but oh wow, yeah, you guys got some really good chatty bar shots actually. So like this one is like nailing it though. Look at the bottom left one. Bottom left one's awesome. Okay, yeah, that's pretty spot on, guys. So we could easily come into here, hit vary region, replace the C-ref with Tiff again. And I'm just gonna let it stay at 30. We're gonna see how that looks. And I like the mouth. I like the goofy kind of drunk mouth that's here. And I'm just gonna select all of it except for the mouth and the hands. And then we'll submit that. See how it looks. And same thing with this one. But this time I'm gonna grab Eve up here. Sorry, I kind of lost my character references here. All right, that's the dude. Let's grab this one here. All right, grab our character reference for Eve, and I am just going to inpaint this one with Eve now. So I'll keep the eyes because the eyes are styled after the Tiff and Eve series, so I definitely want to keep those. The bangs are derivative of Tiff, so I'm going to get rid of that. I'll bring her hair down to about here. We'll even get rid of some of the background. No, we'll just leave it like this. And because there's a cherry in there, I'm gonna also select the top of the glass here. Comic drinking with friends. There's cherry in the drink, and I'm just gonna do a comma for that one. Okay. Okay, so let's try this with a higher character weight because it's super close, right? Like in terms of the hairstyle, we're really getting close. But if we come back up to here now, oops, if we come back, you click the top of the prompt here, it'll zoom you back to the prompt that it's derivative of. We're gonna hit vary region, and we're gonna increase that character weight to like 90 again. There you go. So we'll see how those ones come out. For the slick back one though, we want to kind of bring up probably a bit like because we got the character weight set to 90 on this one, and it didn't do a very good job honestly in terms of trying to get Tiff in there with the mouth, right? So let's try to reduce it down a little more. We can either come into here and have hold on a second. Let me reestablish myself. Okay, here. So we could take any one of these and just in-paint it again, right? Or we can get rid of the mouth, which is what I'm going to do. I'm going to see what happens if I just get rid of the mouth here. And we'll see how well it fills in this area here. And I'll show you what will most likely happen, which is the character will just disappear because there's just not enough reference material in this specific shot to kind of place them. Okay, so it looks like we got multiple redheads. Is this because I used the wrong character reference here? No, I don't think so. Let me just confirm. Nope. Okay, yeah. So I used the correct one here. It just really borrowed her hair color. I'll go ahead and up-res this one. And we can put her hairband back just by selecting around the ears and switching the character weight to 100. Oh, that's 1,000. 100. Some of these are funny. Yeah, it's we definitely want to re-roll this one a couple times just to get it closer to her. Did the hairband one come out? Let's see. Oh, this one did though. Okay. All right, so she's just kind of in the middle looking at them like as this is happening, right? Which is fine. It gives us a good character reference for her face in this. I'm going to say let's upload the fourth one here. Look at that. We got the hairband. Perfect. So let's do the second one on this one. And I'm going to try to in-paint her belly here just so that we get 3 completed characters inside the frame here. Because the next step we do is probably the more exciting stuff for you guys. Because it means that we can kind of like predict what panels come up next and we can guide it with her art to dictate what the next panels should be in the same image result. Cartoon blonde and redhead best friends getting silly at a party. Oh, they're so silly. They're so silly. Yeah, they're just roommates, guys.
Girl.
It's too funny. Okay, all right. So, cool. I think this works. We let's go for that first one just to get something done here today. Cool. So we have 3 distinct characters inside of the frame here. There is a couple of corrections that I need to make. Like, look at the back of his neck here. This is the last stage I try to do is the actual corrections because it doesn't really matter before we do the comic expansions, but afterward, every little mistake that's inside of your images here are going to replicate as we keep expanding. So ideally, we want to clean up any sort of weird inconsistencies that we have that we may see. So like Eve doesn't wear an earring, for example. Get rid of that. Her shoulder is non-existent here, so I'm going to come in there and in-paint that. There's a little bit of like a border rim on the bottom. I could in-paint that, but I'm actually going to leave it to try to encourage comic panels. Yeah, I mean, Eve doesn't technically wear earrings, but in her character reference here, she is. So I'm going to leave that. And I'll get rid of the bracelet. Boom. Let's see how that looks. So just to kind of recap for you guys, what we did was we started with the character design that I provided for you guys. We then used that character design to explore the basically like the style of the character inside of Midjourney. How does Midjourney interpret that specific character? And then we applied that to a different character of hers to try to keep consistency of this new style that Midjourney is very familiar with. And then we started mixing generated images into the equation in order to in order to get us what will be an image that Midjourney really really understands, that encapsulates the emotional tone of the character very well. And that's something that I can't even do half the time inside of my 3 hour streams. It takes plenty of time to find that perfect character reference that speaks to your character like in mood and tone, because all that gets understood with the character referencing. So if your character kind of looks frumpy and angry all the time, it's probably because your character looks frumpy and angry in their character reference. Even if it doesn't look literally like that, it might be inspired to think of it. It's that. So it's always a good idea to run slash describe to get an idea of what Midjourney actually thinks of your characters, and then work off of that. Work off of the slash describe. So if you notice here, like this is all pretty good. Um, I'll go ahead and upres the third one here. Okay. Oh wait, no, she has an earring there. Which one doesn't have? Do all of them do? Yeah, they all have an earring. It's fine. It's fine. That shouldn't be a big deal. It's borrowing the earring from Tiff here. Okay. And that is, again, everything was going to repeat. So, we could always in paint the earrings out later, but she's got a good shoulder. We got a decent wrist on Tiff now. Everything looks pretty decent for that. I did leave the tail in the speech bubble, but whatever. That's going to be it. Let's go ahead and do a comic expansion to get us some predicted panels here. We'll first just work off of whatever Midjourney thinks here. So we're going to remove all of our prompt and write multiple comic panels. And then I'm going to, very importantly, set the zoom to 1. So it's not actually zooming out of the picture. We're not losing any of the data that's inside of this picture in that regard. But we will be using what's inside of it to dictate what the next panel should be. And then writing our intent after we check this result. So this is a square. So what is, 3 of these squares stacked on top of each other? It's going to be a 1-3 aspect ratio. So 1, 3. That should get us 3 unique comic panels, 1 on top, 1 below. So we'll go ahead and hit submit on that. We've left the character reference into there. It's probably going to be of Tiff, but I'll end up removing it after this so that you guys can see what this looks like. Because if you do the zooms with a character reference, sometimes it's really, really like amazing, the results you can get out of it. But you do not get any of the predictive elements to it because there's a very strong lean on the result. So to look at this, it's like you can immediately tell that we're getting this really fun Tiff back in the bar, or like in terms of the the reference itself is really pulling from that reference. So let's try to drop the reference first. Let's bring it to 0. And then I'm also going to just remove it, leaving the single panel character reference onto there for now. Or sorry, single panel style reference onto there for now. And while that's rendering, guys, I just want to say thank you so much for joining. This has been super fun. I've got about another couple minutes here, but it is super fun to be able to make comics with you guys. I really do want to, take the time to like make a complete comic, like a graphic novel with y'all. And I'm going to kind of show you guys how to do that with Phantasma soon. But I really want to show you guys just how powerful it is to predict comics in Midjourney. So look at this. Only thing we've done is set the is gotten rid of the character reference. Okay. Look at this. We have a rather intimate moment, right? It's like, hey there, want to see what I could do with this cherry? Okay. And then she's like gonna put it in her mouth, and then you do the chuck, you do the throw as a separate prompt. Okay. So this is too much fun right off the bat. We're already getting some really, really fun uh like, you know, like look at this, and then them interacting at a table here. His hands are nice and planted, but her hips are a little, like her arms are a little not where they would be with a table. So there's a lot of fixes in terms of some of the results here. But if you do keep the character reference and you drop it to 0, look at this. It puts her in there, but she's wearing the correct outfit now. Look at that. It borrowed the outfit from below. It saw that it was a blonde woman. It borrowed her outfit and put it at the top. On, I think, at least the bottom two are amazingly accurate for what this is. Like, you could literally start this as like a, oh, what are they talking about? And then you go into this moment, right? So let's try to direct this with the next panel from the comic. Okay, this is one of the more exciting stuff, and I know I'm leaving it to the end of the stream here today. But what I'm gonna do is let's try to get the spit. I want to see if I can get the spit take to show up here. Probably not, but we'll see what happens. So we have Photoshop here. Let's go ahead and grab this one here, like so. Copy that, and then I'm gonna paste that back into Discord here. Okay. First thing I'm going to do is just run this as the new style, as the new image blend, right? So we're just going to paste that in the front of the prompt and hit submit. Okay. Because we already seeing that we're getting successful panels, blah, 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 blah. But now I'm going to also paste that in there and say multiple comic panels depicting her spitting a cherry into some across the bar. I'm just gonna say across the bar. Okay. And again, just like before, we could image weight this to be stronger, to kind of lean the results in the directions that we want, so on and so forth. But off of the just multiple comic panels and letting the image kind of direct it, right? We got the drinks at the bar. At least. But if we then let this one render here, what should happen is we essentially get the composition again. Okay, it's going to be more drinks at the bar. Okay, yes, it does make sense. So, you got the direction of the spit take. Like, it's the angle of it is there and represented. That's hilarious. Okay, so for the highest quality results, you probably only want to do this zoom out once just to get us like something, right? So like if we did this, for example, and we saw that we were getting this, you know, like the bottles and stuff. So let's copy this prompt. I'm going to go in the opposite direction when it comes to the actual spit take here. So I'm going to do custom zoom, paste the entire prompt into there, but this time instead of 1:3, I'm going to set it to let's do 1:1. Let's just make it square, but keep the zoom at 1. And then I'm going to lower the image weight. So let's do it to like 0.3. With the fantasy project I'm working on, I'm going as low as 0.1 in order to try to get Midjourney to finish the images as much as possible when I'm using storyboards. I cannot wait for the Phantasma project to be at least to get us our first images out. We did an interview. I'm sorry, not we. My bad. But Fran did an interview, and she is a writer on the fantasy project that we're working on. And she did an interview and brought it up. So now I have to make promotional materials for it. I've been kind of egging on I Troll For You and a few of the other members here about like this coming up, and I'm just so excited for it, but it is also like kind of nerve-wracking. I'm like, it's been 6 months of development with you guys, so I'm really eager to get it out and done. But look at this. Okay, so when we expand it out, we got the rest of the bar, we got the drinks that are there, we got the throwing line, we got like the motion line of her throwing it, but we still didn't really capture this moment. And this is likely because we're kind of reaching a limit of like the interpretation of this thing. So like if, for example, if this will probably be where I start to close it out, because if we do /describe image and then I bring this new comic panel in wherever that is, let's grab it from here. This one here. We have this new panel here. I'm just going to actually drop that in and then paste it. So really smart asks, what do you use for storyboarding? Pen and paper, actually. It's a lot easier to just mock up your storyboards by hand and then have Midjourney figure out the rest of it. I really want to show you guys a specific example that we've made, but I'm gonna have to leave that for later. It's Patooey. It understands Patooey. It's a bar with meta written on the wall. What? Okay, it's looking at the bar glasses and it reads the word meta somewhere in there. So I'm just gonna hit Imagine All on this. And this will get us like probably the words that we need to describe the moment, and then we're gonna allow for Midjourney to come in and do some fun stuff with that. Okay, so do any of them evoke a spit take kind of throw? Not really. Yeah, I was a little nervous with this one, like this exact comic, because it does evoke like a lot of motion lines, a lot of throwing and stuff. So there isn't a lot of interpretation that makes sense for that. So we might need to like segment it out to where we zoom in close on Tiff and then, make it a separate run on the prompts. But for now, I'm going to grab, let's see here. I'm going to just, I think I'm just going to go through a full description here. So let's just say multiple comic panels depicting her putting a cherry in her mouth, which is probably going to hit us with an image filter, but we'll see what happens. Putting a cherry in her mouth and spitting it across the bar. And then I'm going to put the image weight down to 1. And hopefully we're able to see a result that works for that. But we might need to, in order to really force the character to be in there, we could also include the character reference for Eve. And then I'm going to just update her character sheet and call it a day, guys, off of that. So let's grab this one here. That's Tiff. Yeah. I love these guys, though. You guys did such a good job having fun interpreting the scene at the bar. I cannot wait to show this video to Fran. She's going to have too much fun with this. I'm just going to scroll us back up to here. I think this will work. Nope, wrong one again. Is it this one? Yes. Okay, cool. Grab this, boom, drag it all the way down. Yep, that's what I thought. We reached the banned prompt because of the cherries. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna write /prefer. I think that's probably a good point to set it. I'm gonna write Eve again because every time you put in a new character, it's going to actually delete the result of the. Oh my god, you got the cherry in there. Yes. Okay. Awesome. So like we'll hit Eve on here, hit plus more value, and then I'm gonna paste our new 2 links that we have for Eve. Hit enter. And now every time I write Eve, it's going to replace it with those 2 links. So comic text saying cherry launching champion from Fungi Mancer. Okay. That's awesome. I could tell that you prompted that somewhere else. So I bet you were experimenting with some stuff pretty heavy. But this is too damn cute. Can you link the character reference you used in there? It's probably the one I was just running with. But even for this, you try it on the website. That makes sense. Even for this, though, we can say comic panels depicting her spitting a cherry across the room. And if we wanted to describe like the motion lines, they're called a lot of different things in comic books. Like they're called motion ribbons. They're called action lines. There's from what I understood, there's about 6 or 7 different words for the exact same white drawn line. It's different for everything. But what we're gonna do is both comic panels depicting her spitting a cherry across the room, and then I'm gonna hit the aspect ratio to something tall. So let's do like 2:5. The high stylized will most likely get rid of the comic panels, at least through my experience. This was one then remixed with a CRF. Okay, cool. Very, very cool. And you can see that when you start to like diversify outside of the style references, you get to realism really fast. You get to like a hyper high effort art style, and then you applied the character reference to that top right one, I can tell. And then it gave us Eve, right? So yeah, that's awesome. So that's essentially the power of using variation subtle. You pick which one is closest to the intent that you have, which is a cherry in the mouth, and then you run a variation subtle with Eve's art, and boom, you just get her in there. So we'll let that render for a second. But this is telling me that I think in terms of this concept for a comic, we've kind of hit our wall for that. But you could see that with the high stylized though, we got a very tall shot of a bar basically. But if I now drop this to like 60 instead of 600, it will very likely give us strict comic panels because it's just easier for Midjourney to do that, to split things up into multiple versions of a slightly different image, or sorry, the same image but slightly different, than it is for it to try to, make the whole room make sense, make the entire canvas filled with context that makes sense. Yeah, there's no sorry in prompting. It's cool to experiment. It's very true.
Yep.
It's very true. You can't really make mistakes here. You can definitely you could definitely show us your intent, and your intent, if it's lewd at all, we know it. We know what you're doing. But if it's in any way just, oops, I accidentally made a whatever, then that's no big deal or whatever. But I really want to show you guys this because this is the hidden power of using stylize with comic prompts. Is look at this. You have the scene being redirected, changed around based on just one parameter. You drop the styles, and she's actively like moving in the room. Like that's insane, and it's because you're literally saying, "Don't try so hard. Don't try to change the background in every panel. Don't try to don't try to make it all one gorgeous panel. Just make her slightly change in that scene." And it happens because you drop the stylize. So this one right here, this third one, is so good. Look at that. I think this is a great point to leave it at because we got her like with the cherry in hand. By the way, putting the cherry in her mouth. Look at that, the top right one. She's putting the cherry in her mouth. We just need to inpaint a drink into her hand. She has the cherry in her mouth, and then we could do like a spit take off of this last panel just by like doing an in paint. So like, grab this, grab this, and then in paint the bottom panel here, and then submit that. And we say comic panel depicting. So we could just say like comic panel depicting her spitting a cherry, just spitting the cherry. And image filter. Like anytime you involve like getting too close to like hips, breasts, anything like that, you're probably going to hit some kind of image filter. It is something that you want to be conscious about, just because like understand that if you're not paying for the $60 pro account, everything is like public, right? So like you just want to be aware that like if that when it comes to like some of those things you can make in Midjourney, like you don't really have full control of it. So the best thing you can do is just delete it, get rid of it.
And to be fair, you're gonna hit the image filter anyway.
You
whether
are.
you have the private plan or not.
You will hit the image filter. It's just more about it being on your account. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, but yeah. So if you look here, that's her putting the cherry closer to her mouth. She's not spitting it. It seems like Midjourney doesn't like the idea of spitting. I think that's really what it's coming down to, is that it's a very, frankly, vulgar thing to do. But we do have her leaning down, about to put the cherry in her mouth. This is enough to tell the start of the story here. So I hope that's enough for you guys today, because we're about a little over 3 hours in now, and I think we've made really great progress with just one. We have a sharp chin, upward nose, red head with a ponytail that is on spot for Eve. You guys did a great job doing that,
Oh
and
yeah.
and just in general, I'm just so stoked to see Fran's reaction to all this. I think she's gonna love it. And I really don't think we're gonna get the spit take with the cherry. Let me see what this other one you guys did really quick. Oh, there. Okay, she has the mouth open there. She's almost like getting spit at, like she's like whatever. But like we're not getting the exact thing yet. But that's fine. But I think we're good to leave it there.
What
I'm
if
gonna
you have it being thrown into her mouth?
Right. Yeah. We'll probably hit image filters again. It is one of those things where, like, especially the like any sort of close-ups of faces is kind of a crapshoot sometimes when it comes to that stuff. Midjourney is really good about giving you safe for work results. But it is certainly true that you can, especially with image blending, you could get to some weird places. So I'm going to leave it at that. But the we do have an after party that we do on my server. If you don't mind linking that, Kinky, to thank you so much. We broke 1,500 members, so that's awesome. But if you join our Movie Machine server, it's in VC text. You can come and join the voice chat, and we will answer your questions directly. If you got a project going on that you want to share, feel free. It's all inside of Movie Machine. So I'm just gonna hit show servers here. Inside of Movie Machine, you'll find that we have all sorts of lodges, and the lodges are where you prompt things inside of our server. You can see I was doing some tests with Tiff here, and in general, just trying to explore what this character can do before the stream. But we have a couple of different challenges for you guys inside of the server. So the first challenge is just the meme challenge. Make the memes. Like, you can make memes of your characters here. So just do it. Like, bring a meme and see what you can do. There's some really funny ones that people like animated them, right? Like, look at that. That's so fun. That's Kravis, who is an unhinged wizard. And we also have the Fantasy Nexus, which we didn't talk about at all today, but we do have a fantasy series that we're all working on as a group. So all 1,500 of us are collaborators. I think by the end of this project, honestly, like if we get through an entire graphic novel and get it done, it might be the biggest collaboration that I've ever been on. But for the fantasy stuff, it's just so cool to see where you guys take these characters. We have Blobby, we have various other characters that you guys have contributed to there. So you can submit those characters, original characters, to the Chaos Portal here. And you'll notice that inside of the Chaos Portal, there is tons of characters that people have come up with here, including my own. And everyone's developing them. So if anyone develops on top of one of your characters, it'll show up as a notification that you get. So if you really want to see like where Midjourney users take your characters to fantastic places, you can do so just by submitting them to the Chaos Portal and then seeing how people update over time. So there's a couple of rules and suggestions inside of there, but just read it at your own time. It's plenty of characters, plenty of things to go do in there. So I'll leave it with Kinky to give some closing messages, and then you guys have a wonderful night after that.
Hi everybody. Um, it's about that time where I tell you guys that we have prompt battles this weekend. We have it every weekend, and some people don't know that, so I came to tell you. Um, we go from 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon on Saturday to 10 o'clock p.m., and then on Sunday we go from 10 a.m. Eastern to 6 p.m. I am going to link in the chat the prompt battles event event calendar things, just so it shows you in your time. We'd love it if you come by. A few of the people in here have come and played prompt battles with us. Some of them are there a lot. It's really great. You guys should come by. Everybody's very, very nice, and it's not as competitive as it sounds. But there are free fast hours, and you do learn tons of new stuff, and you get to meet new people and become part of the community. You don't have to talk on the microphone, and you don't have to stay all day. Some people just come and go as they please. Some people stay all day if they want. It's whatever. It's all very personal. But I did put the 2 links in the chat. You're welcome to hit interested or just come by if you don't hit interested. Or maybe you don't think you're going to come by because you're busy, but you do, because I don't need an RSVP. I just want you to show up. Also, I re-linked Victor's Movie Machine um,
I
uh,
appreciate it.
server at the bottom so that it didn't get like bypassed. But there are a lot of other things up there that you should take a look at, because I got his YouTube channel, his Twitch channel, his website and tutorial, and his Instagram.
Yeah, you got everything
Um,
there.
all those places are linked up above. But I did bring the server down because everyone's going to be hanging out in it afterwards. So
Well,
I hope you guys have the best night and the best weekend, and take care of yourselves, okay?
awesome. Thank you so much, Kinky. And you guys have a wonderful night. And yeah, thanks again for joining. This was super fun. Next week, pet stream.
You
Enjoy.
too. Pet stream.
Yeah.
Bye bye.
Bye. Later.